Hey everyone, if you like the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Imagine breaking into a girl's dorm, expecting to get your butt kicked, but instead, you end up getting accepted into college. This is the wild life of the powerful wind magic user, Noah Harrington, a guy now stuck pretending to be a student for the rest of his life, while hiding motives that are anything but academic. In a quiet town, under the night sky, a precious necklace rests on a pillow. It's beautiful and shiny, but someone snatches it in the blink of an eye and starts to flee. The guards protecting the necklace announce that a thief has stolen it, and they must give chase. But the man in question doesn't see it that way. He's no ordinary criminal, as he possesses magical powers that he uses to push back the guards chasing him. To the townspeople, he's a sorcerer, and they're right. But to be precise, he is a wind controller. His mother's last words were not to use his powers, but since she left a heavy debt, he has to use these powers to pay it off. His name is Noah Harrington, and he calls himself the town's very own problem solver, though he carries a hefty debt of $50,000 that he needs to pay. After escaping from the guards, Noah enters a pub, where a muscular bartender who looks like Andrew Tate is waiting for him. He places the stolen necklace in front of the man, expecting to be paid well. But to his shock, the bald guy throws a small bag of coins on the table. Noah is furious, as it's not even 50 gold, and for that, he had to get past so many guards. However, the bald server ignores him upon noticing someone else entering the pub. He was waiting for this person and hands the necklace to her. It's an elderly lady who takes the necklace in her hands, and her face lights up with happiness. It was all her daughter left behind before departing from this world. She offers only a bucket of baguettes in exchange for the necklace. She hands it to the bald server, apologizing and saying it's all she can offer. The server reassures her that the middleman will be grateful for it, and says that if she needs anything else, she should feel free to ask. Noah listens to the whole exchange right next to them. When the lady leaves, Noah gets frustrated, feeling like he does all the hard work, while the server gets all the credit for it. The bald man, with a serious expression, warns him that if Noah's identity as someone who can use mana is revealed, he will be drafted into the war. He advises Noah to keep a low profile, pay off his debt, and avoid following in his father's footsteps. Our boy wants a tough challenge that's worthwhile, but to his disappointment, the bald man hands him a cute wolf plushie. Noah thinks it's a joke that he has to deliver something like this, but when the bald man reveals that the mission is worth 10,000 gold, Noah snatches it from the table and agrees. However, fear strikes him when the bald man explains that he has to deliver it to the Reca Academy's girls' dormitory. Noah is shocked, since it's a place no one can enter, but the bald man raises the reward by another 10,000 gold. Like Mr. Krabs, greedy for the money, Noah snatches the teddy bear from the bald man's hands and agrees to do it. As he leaves for the mission, he looks back at the bald man with a smile, assuring him that he's capable of doing it, he says. But as he scouts the academy from a cliff, he realizes that infiltrating it will be a difficult task. There are sorcerers who can control all kinds of elements, genius inventors, and powerful summoners. Thinking about all of them, Noah feels shivers run down his spine. However, the reward of 20,000 gold motivates him from within, leaving him both eager and nervous. He decides to just go for it, since he only needs to deliver the teddy bear to a black-haired girl and red eyes inside, and it'll all be over. So, Noah leaps onto the academy wall, but is a little surprised to find a force field there. However, he realizes it's stretched to cover the entire campus, so he can still get through it. He channels wind energy into his hand and, with one strike, manages to break through and enter. Once inside, he sneaks from room to room, searching for the girl with black hair and red eyes. However, he's shocked to find that there are two black-haired girls. As it gets late, Noah considers just leaving the teddy bear there for the girls to sort out themselves. But, as the fixer, he knows he has to get it right. With trembling hands, he carefully opens one of the girl's eyes. And bingo, it's red. As he feels relieved to have found her, the girl wakes up and asks who he is. Noah freezes and, in that moment, the girl, in the blink of an eye, attacks him, which he barely manages to dodge. She's shocked that he managed to dodge her attack, despite her incredible speed. While all this is happening, the other girl is sleeping soundly. Noah, trembling on the floor, tries to explain himself, but the girl isn't having any of it. After all, he snuck into her room and tried to open her eyes. Our boy tries to clarify that he's there for a favor, but that just makes her angrier, as she misunderstands, thinking he came for some kind of perverted favor. In a last-ditch effort to save himself, Noah denies it, but despite his protests, the girl launches him into the hallway. Barely dodging, Noah starts running for his life. As the girl chases him with a book in her hand, Noah is screaming, begging for a chance to explain, but the girl firmly believes he's a pervert. Noah knows this is no easy job, but he's prepared. While running, he suddenly slides to a stop. He turns back with a smile on his face and sends a tornado toward her at lightning speed. However, as the tornado rushes toward the girl, Noah realizes it might be overkill, but it's already too late. The tornado hits her, but instead of hurting her, it doesn't leave a single scratch. The girl, however, is left dumbfounded. Realizing Noah is a sorcerer, she also figures out how he got into the academy through the force field. She reveals that at first, she was planning to capture him alive, but now she's changed her mind. A maniacal smile spreads across her face, leaving Noah uneasy. She opens the book she's carrying and, chanting a spell, invokes her summon. Noah is shocked by what he sees before him, a monstrous wolf-like creature, ready to tear him to shreds. It's then that Noah realizes the girl is actually a summoner. The beastly wolf growls fiercely, ready to attack, while the girl introduces herself as Iwas. Noah is not impressed with the timing of her introduction, however. Stepping forward, she claims she's introducing herself, so he'll know who is responsible for taking his life. With a maniacal smile on her face, she tells Noah that he will die that night. Now, Noah is about to wet his pants. As he processes the situation, the powerful beast lunges at him with its jaws wide open, while Noah remains frozen in fear. Noah is terrified, thinking that he is facing a summoner worth 10,000 gold, but just as he's stuck on that thought, the beast attacks him with its claws. Noah manages to dodge, moving to the side. Although he barely escapes, the claws slash his shoulder. Immediately, Iwas follows up with a fire spell. Noah barely manages to dodge, which makes him fall flat on his face. Both Iwas and the beast are surprised by his quick reflexes, while Noah can't help but feel a sense of relief for still being alive, as he processes everything. Another attack misses. Noah starts running with the beast and Iwas hot on his heels. He runs all over the academy, then crashes through a window, launching himself into the air with Iwas still pursuing him, refusing to let him get away so easily. While they are flying through the sky, Noah spots another force field and jumps into the building, protected by it. He is momentarily covered by shards of glass, but is more surprised that a student could be so crazy. As he catches his breath in the library building, an elf notices. The elf is shocked that he broke through the force field and demands to know who Noah is. In a panic, Noah apologizes for breaking the window, but the elf with a serious expression says he doesn't care about that. He just wants to know who Noah is. Frozen in fear, Noah can't answer. Then, the elf deactivates the force field on the main door, allowing Hilo to quickly enter. As she enters, the elf asks her about the situation, to which Hilo reveals that Noah is a pervert who snuck into her room. However, Noah yells, arguing that she's lying. The elf, growing tired of Noah, uses his powerful magic to slam him to the ground, pinning him there. Our boy trembles, unable to move, feeling the heavy force of magic pressing down on him. Hilo, calling the elf director, assures him that she'll take care of Noah. However, the director reveals that as a student, she can't administer punishment. And Hilo tries to argue, but the director fixes her with a fierce glare and orders her back to her room. Despite wanting to say more, Hilo reluctantly agrees and leaves. As soon as she leaves, the director begins to interrogate Noah, starting by asking who he is, since he doesn't seem to be one of his students. Noah again claims to be lost, but the director knows that the place he's in is not a place one enters by mistake. The director grows increasingly suspicious of Noah as he rambles on about not being a threat or a pervert. The director then asks about his background, but Noah ignores him, whistling casually. The Grandmaster, picking up the teapot, reveals he doesn't care where Noah comes from or who he is. He trespassed on academy grounds, which is a crime. The director explains that it's his duty to investigate crimes, but he also has the responsibility to scout for talent. The fact that Noah managed to break through the force field impresses him, so the director gives him two options: enroll in the academy or live the rest of his life as a low-level criminal. Noah falls silent, despair setting in as he processes the situation. He then asks, confirming if this is really what the director wants. Noah starts to argue with the director, pointing out how suspicious it is that he sent the students away and suddenly starts interrogating an intruder. Thus, he knows his enrollment could just be an excuse to make him do something for the director. Noah also reveals that he's quite famous outside the walls. To prove it, he uses his wind magic to shatter the library's glass windows. Laughing, Noah reveals that if word gets out that he broke into the academy, he'll only become more famous. The director, realizing Noah is smarter than he thought, asks what he wants. Noah calmly replies that the director will have to pay and make an official, including tuition and any other exclusive costs. According to Noah, this might cost the director a pretty penny then. He asks what the principal intends to do about it. Hearing this, the principal looks at Noah with suspicious eyes. She returns to her room, muttering to herself about almost catching the pervert. She didn't expect that he would end up in the principal's office. Frustrated, she slams the door, startling her roommate. She can barely believe that a pervert managed to break into the principal's office, especially with all the security measures in place. He's clearly talented, but she can't help but feel that it's being wasted on such a petty pursuit. Still furious, she goes to her bed. She's furious that he interrupted her sleep and, what's worse, tomorrow is the midterm exam, where she needs to be at her best. Now, the pervert has ruined that too. She pauses, pulling back the blanket, only to be surprised to find her toy, the one she left at home, on her bed. Confused, she stares at it, wondering what it's doing there. Meanwhile, inside the academy, a classroom is buzzing with students gossiping among themselves, but when Hilo enters, all eyes turn to her. As soon as Hilo enters the classroom, the whispers begin. Some students murmur about her arrival, calling her a snob, and referring to her as the future lady of the disloyal Sigrun. Hilo doesn't seem bothered, as she's already used to the comments. She knows they call her a snob because they're jealous. She enrolled as the top of her class and has always been a consistent valedictorian. Another source of their jealousy is her family, the disloyal house of Sigrun. A student speaks loudly behind her back, claiming he heard that the Sigruns were the only family to oppose the king, and Ilo hears every word clearly, thinking to herself that if they can't even confront her directly, then they have no right to call her a coward. But then, something explodes on her desk, turning her hands into snakes. The students burst out laughing, as it's just a prank from one of their classmates. Hilo remains calm, unfazed. She's the class outcast, the center of attention for all the wrong reasons. Suddenly, an announcement sounds, instructing all students in the auditorium to head to the arena. No one knows exactly what's happening, and some students begin to speculate that the class has been moved. Hilo was the first to leave the auditorium. As she was leaving, she cast a spell and placed it on the wall. The spell was immediately triggered when the other students started to leave the room. The result was their eyes transforming into those of a cyclops, prompting an outburst of anger from one of the students, who yelled, calling Hilo a bitch. It was clear to everyone that she was behind the prank. Meanwhile, Hilo arrives at the arena. The supervisor asks where the others are, but Hilo doesn't answer. After a few minutes of waiting, the students come running in, visibly irritated. The supervisor is speechless upon seeing them. Hilo hands her the weapon, which she uses to cancel the snake transformation. The supervisor takes it, her fury evident, as she mutters about Hilo showing up with snake fingers and the students now appearing as animals. She wonders aloud if the dungeon has been opened. She fires the neutralizing weapon at them, and their transformed appearances immediately return to normal. She warns them sternly, saying that if they mess around with magic again, there will be penalties. With that, the exam begins inside the academy. Noah walks down the hall in a good mood. He was accepted into the academy and received a scholarship, which fills him with excitement. Soon, people will know that he's a repairer, and his services will be in high demand. He's excited about the prospect of paying off his debts when he graduates and becomes a free man. Suddenly, Noah bumps into someone. It turns out to be a small, cute creature, similar to the supervisor he saw earlier. The creature quickly asks if he's okay, but before he can answer, it grabs his hand and starts dragging him along. The creature explains that there's no time for pleasantries, as they are late. But Noah has no idea what is going on. He looks at the small creature, still holding his hand, and wonders where they are going. The creature replies, mentioning that it's the day of the midterm exam, but Noah has no idea what that means. When they arrive at the arena, an explosion echoes as soon as they look inside. The creature seems relieved to see they're not late, but another explosion soon follows. Noah, now in a panic, asks if the exam is really happening, as it looks more like a battle than anything else. The small creature considers this for a moment and then asks Noah if it's his first time at the academy. She's never heard of him before, and Noah's presence seems out of place, especially since it's exam day. Noah explains that he's a new student who just transferred today. The creature seems surprised, as it's unusual for new students to arrive in the middle of the semester, especially on the first day of the exam. Curious about Noah's lack of understanding, the creature asks if he knows the exam rules. When Noah admits he doesn't, the creature instructs him to watch the other students closely. She explains that each student will pick a ball from a box, and that ball will transform into a knight. The balls come in 7 colors: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet, and the knight's difficulty depends on the ball's color. As the creature explains, one of the students chooses a blue ball, and when it hits the ground, it explodes. From the explosion, a knight emerges. Noah's eyes go wide upon seeing Hilo, the maniac from last night, confronting the knight in the arena. The creature explains that Hilo is level 7, which makes it pretty obvious that she'll pass the exam. She also reveals that Hilo is the top student in the class, which shocks the boy, leaving him in disbelief. He then clenches his fists, determined to see just how good she really is. Meanwhile, in the arena, Hilo readies her crossbow, while charging up fireballs in her hands and meeting the knight halfway. She launches the fireballs at the knight, and they all hit their mark. At first, it looks like they did nothing to the knight, but suddenly his armor begins to shatter, shocking Noah, who is watching it all unfold. As the knight falls, the supervisor announces that Hilo has passed the exam. Noah gets the chills, thinking that if he'd been caught last night, he might have ended up just like that knight. Hilo spots Noah too, and is shocked to see that this pervert is wearing their uniform. Noah gives a playful greeting, calling her a psycho, but she does not take it lightly. She erupts in fury, screaming that he must be dying to finish their fight from last night. The supervisor, who is watching them both cause a scene in the arena, steps in and scolds her for what she's doing in the middle of an exam. She turns to Noah and asks if he's a new transfer. Anxiously, Noah introduces himself. The supervisor reveals that he's next in line, since there are no exceptions on the first day, so he'd better prepare for the test. She then calls out the creature accompanying Noah, referring to her as a louse, and says it's her turn next. During this, Cut quietly prays for an easy ball. To her delight, she gets the yellow ball, which she knows is a piece of cake. She throws the ball on the ground, preparing herself, like something straight out of a Pokemon battle. A heavily armed knight with a longsword emerges from it. Noah watches in shock, unable to believe something like that came out of such a small ball. Cut, unfazed, launches her own attack, which is a small magic cube. Just as the knight is about to strike, Cut starts twisting the cube and throws it at the knight. As it hurtles towards him, the cube unfolds into a net and traps the knight in place. With that, Cut passes the exam, much to her excitement. Noah applauds, saying she's much nicer than the psycho, Hilo, who just smashed everything to pieces. The supervisor then calls Noah for his turn, and he's pretty pumped. Noah confidently steps into the arena, as other students comment on how confident he is, even though he's a new student. The principal is also there, watching to see what Noah is capable of. Approaching the box, Noah feels anxious about what he might get as he rummages around in the balls. Magic balls. The violet ball floats up and flies into his hands. Noah is shocked to see the ball fly into his hand on its own when he pulls his hand away. Everyone in the arena is impressed that he got the violet ball on his first day. According to the buzz, it's one of the toughest ones, even making the upperclassmen fight for their lives against it. And Hilo thinks this might be Noah's first and last day at the academy for grabbing that ball. Cut covers his eyes in fear, while the supervisor is excited since she hasn't seen a level 7 battle simulation in a while. However, she flinches upon noticing the headmaster beside her, quickly changing her words to say it might be too much for Noah since he's new. The headmaster is also excited to see what Noah has to offer. Meanwhile, Noah is completely confused by all the chatter around him. Noah, looking at the ball in his hands, tosses it on the ground, as he relaxes and wonders why everyone was so worked up about it. As he does so, a massive explosion fills the arena with the sound of a heavy grinding echoing through the air. Meanwhile, Noah is whistling confidently, thinking it's the same size as the yellow ball. However, his expression changes when the grinding sound doesn't stop and the knight continues to grow in height. Before long, a towering knight stands before him. Noah is in disbelief that he has to face this huge tank of a knight. As this happens, other students start to worry about Noah facing a level 7 knight, fearing it might just tear him to shreds. Noah feels a shiver run down his spine, but as he looks at the other students, he realizes there are a lot of eyes on him today. He knows he has to do something. As he's thinking about this, the Violet Knight's powerful fist rushes toward Noah, who dodges it by inches. The knight follows up with another attack, and Noah tries to escape by running. Despite its power, the Violet Knight can't seem to catch Noah, who is quite fast. However, Noah is shaking intensely, thinking that if the attack had connected, he would be dead. The crowd, watching his dodges, starts to murmur about how fast he is. Meanwhile, Hilo is also confused about what's going on with Noah. As they're talking, the Violet Knight swings its massive arm toward Noah. He waits for a moment and then leaps into the air to dodge. The other students are surprised by his long jump. The Violet Knight isn't done yet. It swings its weapon toward Noah, but this time he can't run or dodge, leaving him trapped in its path. Noah, wondering what he should do in this situation, remembers the time when his mother punished him for using magic in front of people. Noah, holding a chair over his head, argued with his mother, who worked as a cleaner at a pub. She reminded him that his father had been summoned because he could use magic, so he needed to be careful. Despite the warnings, Noah used his spell on the table, making it levitate. His mother noticed and scolded him for it, She then approached Noah and, to his shock, hugged him tightly, begging him not to use magic, at least not in front of others. Returning to the present and remembering his mother's words, Noah uses his hands to channel a wind portal in front of him, shooting it towards the weapon that was approaching the violet knight. The force is so strong that the weapon is deflected and hits the protective force field around the arena, shattering it. The supervisor, upon seeing this, is shocked that the weapon simply passed through the force field. The students, standing below the falling fragments of the force field, freeze in shock as the sharp pieces fly towards them, but to everyone's surprise, the fragments don't fall. Instead, they begin to float in the air. The students are confused, thinking it's a defense mechanism, but one of them is stunned to realize that it's the new transfer student controlling the fragments. Noah is using his magic to gather the fragments in the air, forming a large ball. As he does this, he realizes he's used this spell before, but doing it in front of everyone makes him feel like he has betrayed his mother. With that thought, he launches the fragments at the knight with all his might, and they go straight through it, landing back at his feet. Noah knows it's too late to follow his mother's orders, so he charges his wind power in his hands, powering himself up. He is surrounded by a brilliant wind aura, as the powerful knight stands before him. Seeing it up close, Noah realizes it's not enough. Meanwhile, the knight's eye flashes as it locks onto Noah, preparing for a powerful attack. Its targeting system also detects other students, locking them in as targets for the attack. It charges a harpoon on its forearm. Noah is terrified to see the massive harpoon. The students also notice the knight aiming at them, wondering if it has malfunctioned. As they process this, the knight suddenly fires a barrage of harpoons towards them. They barely manage to get out of the way in time. Noah is shocked and confused, questioning what the knight is doing. Akilo and Cut, equally worried, yell for the supervisor to stop it before everyone gets killed. Noah, looking at the supervisor, shouts that something seems seriously wrong and suggests shutting down the knight. The supervisor, frantically analyzing the blueprint, is also confused, reasoning that the knight's armor should be too thick to be pierced like that. Meanwhile, Noah pulls his hair in shock, struggling to understand what is happening at the academy. Suddenly, another harpoon lunges toward him, forcing him to jump aside just in time, seeing Noah struggling in front of the knight. The headmaster wonders if he overestimated him. Noah is in the arena sweating, realizing that his only option now is to defeat the knight. However, he has no idea how to do it, until an idea strikes him. He calls out to the psycho girl and asks her to lend him some of her powerful fire. She, full of ego, yells back that it's his exam and he shouldn't be ordering her around. Noah, pointing at the knight wreaking havoc in the arena, shouts that it will destroy them all if they don't act fast. Hearing this, Ilo gets worried, and reluctantly agrees to help. She summons a huge fireball in her hands and launches it toward Noah as he prepares his own spell. Using his wind magic, Noah creates a whirlwind above him and combines it with Ilo's fire blast, amplifying its size before sending it toward the knight. When it hits, the knight begins to burn from the inside out. Noah clenches his fist, channeling more wind power into the attack. When the flames finally die down, everyone is shocked to see the knight melting and barely holding itself together. It's the new student's achievement, and even Noah is impressed with what he's done. Realizing the reality of his victory, he celebrates joyfully by himself. Meanwhile, the supervisor shouts in disbelief at the destruction of her precious golem. Noah turns to Elo, gives a thumbs up and calls it great teamwork. Elo, acting nonchalant, dismisses him as childish, while the supervisor trembles with regret in the background. Furious, she yells for Noah and Ilo to come to her office. As they walk toward her office, the entire hallway erupts in applause for Noah's victory over the violent knight. Ilo, still jealous, scoffs, calling the celebration pathetic. He taunts her, asking if he is really that pathetic, because why didn't she take down the knight herself? This comment enrages Ilo even more, and that's all he has to say? The exchange quickly turns into an annoying argument, with the two of them bickering back and forth. Finally, they arrive at the supervisor's office, where she is waiting for them. Clearing her throat, she asks if they know why they were summoned. Noah, puffing out his chest, proudly claims that it's because the supervisor wants to praise him for his heroic deeds. The supervisor slams her hand on the desk, denying his assumption. She declares that she summoned them because Noah asked for help during his exam, and Elo helped him, despite it being against the rules. Slamming the desk again, she yells that they both cheated and, as a result, they will be placed at the bottom of the class. This news shocks them, since they clearly defeated the knight. Noah passionately argues, stating that it's unfair since he saved everyone. A furious Ilo asks about her assignment, to which the supervisor reveals that her task is to teach Noah all the rudimentary magic he missed during the first semester. She adds that Noah will have to pass her test 1 week from that day, and Ilo tries to protest, questioning why she should take on such a responsibility. But the supervisor shuts her down, threatening her with an F. The threat immediately silences Ilo in frustration. Clenching her fists tightly, she seethes with anger, thinking she should have dealt with Noah when she had the chance, letting out a deep sigh as she realizes she has no other choice. Ilo agrees to help Noah, and he also agrees to take the test, which brings relief to the supervisor. Ilo asks how familiar Noah is with the academy. He reveals that it's a place where you learn magic. She clarifies that the academy doesn't just focus on magic, it teaches elemental magic, using water, fire, wind, light, and darkness, as well as summoning magic for those with exceptional talent, like Ilo. Furthermore, the academy trains magic engineers and technicians. As Noah realizes, the academy is much more complex than he initially thought. The supervisor reveals that the headmaster's decision to accept Noah mid-semester is unprecedented, but they want to know where he came from and what family he belongs to. Noah reveals he's from Staedon and is a commoner. At this, the supervisor becomes suspicious, as it's unusual for a commoner to have such a strong affinity for mana. Noah jokes in a light-hearted manner about being drafted into the army because of his magical abilities. However, ignoring this, the supervisor asks if Noah knows how to use summoning magic. He states matter-of-factly that even without a summoning spell, his wind magic is sufficient. Stroking her chin thoughtfully, the supervisor assures him that he will learn as he progresses. She then orders Ilo to show him to the dorms, which makes her even more furious, prompting her to refuse immediately. The supervisor, unimpressed, threatens her for being difficult, forcing Ilo to comply despite her desire to kill the solo boy. As Ilo reluctantly walks Noah through the campus, she remains furious, blaming him for disturbing her perfect student life and leaving a metaphorical scratch on it. Noah, however, throws the blame back, calling her a psycho and reminding her that he ended up in the headmaster's office because she chased him that night in the dorms. Being called a psycho enrages Ilo even more, and in a fit of rage, she conjures a fireball in her hand, asking if he has a death wish, but as she continues to rant, she suddenly pauses, realizing something. Seeing her pause, Noah asks if she isn't going with him. Changing her expression, she quickly lies, stating that the principal had called for her earlier, so he should find his own way if he's not such a slowpoke. Feeling confident, Noah replies that it's easy enough for him to manage on his own. Hearing this, a smile spreads across her face as she explains that on his first night, when he went to the principal's office, he should, instead, go to the first door to its right. Noah gives her a suspicious look, doubting what she's saying and asking why a dorm room would be located there. She shrugs, warning him that if he ends up in the girls' dorm again, he'll definitely be called a pervert. Despite her words, Noah looks at her with a hint of suspicion. Yet, he decides to follow her instructions. He walks to the specified room, throws the door open, and loudly greets his supposed roommate. However, he stops, realizing it's not a dorm room but a teacher's office. The professor, who looks busy, looks at Noah and scolds him for being so rude. As night falls, Noah finally arrives at the actual dormitory building, realizing that Ilu had tricked him and made him look like a fool. From one of the rooms, Ilu spots him and starts laughing, proud of how ridiculous she made him look. Noah yells up at her, accusing her of deliberately giving him the wrong directions. Sliding back under her blanket, she smugly replies that it's what he gets for being rude to her, hugging the wolf-shaped teddy bear Noah brought for her, and falls asleep. That night, she dreams of her past life, where her mother is with her near a volcano, telling a story about mages who can control lava. The wolf teddy bear is there too. Ilu is just a child at the time and thinks the story is incredibly cool. Her mother adds that, in the story, there is also a princess who raised a mythical wolf by her side. Upon hearing this, young Ilu clutches the teddy bear even tighter, imagining herself as the princess her mother is speaking of. As she dreams of this in the present, she unconsciously hugs the teddy bear even closer. However, while everyone is sound asleep, a mouse scurries into the room. Upon spotting an intruder, the teddy bear's eyes begin to flash with portals, and it gets up, standing protectively in front of the mouse. Startled, the mouse freezes for a moment before scampering out of the room in fear. Afterward, the teddy bear returns to the bed. Meanwhile, in his own room, Noah lies awake, unable to sleep, as he stews over how Ilu tricked him earlier. His thoughts are soon interrupted by the loud snoring of his roommate, who is sound asleep. Noah tries to remember something he wanted to do. Suddenly, he remembers and jumps out of bed. He sits at the table, grabs a pen, and starts scribbling on a piece of paper. He is writing a letter to the waiter who gave him the delivery job, despite his 2-year-old grammar skills. He somehow manages to write that he completed the delivery and is now enrolled at the academy. The next day, Hilo irritably informs Noah that she will only train him for 30 minutes a day during their lunch break. Furious, unable to comprehend why she has to waste her time on someone she considers trash like Noah. Meanwhile, Noah, watching her rant, feels disheartened, but warns that he won't tolerate her attitude. He reminds her that the director himself enrolled him at the academy and that failing one subject won't be enough to get him expelled. Hearing this, Hilo gets nervous, realizing that if he refuses her tutoring, the supervisor might give her the dreaded F that she's so afraid of. The thought makes her anxious, especially since she carries the immense responsibility of being the family's heiress. Seeing her worry, Noah smirks, realizing he has her completely cornered. However, seeing himself as the bigger person, he decides to let Hilo tutor him. Mockingly, he says she should say please. Hilo agrees, barely managing to control her rage, and reluctantly begs Noah to let her teach him. Noah calms her down and asks when the lessons start, to which Hilo curtly warns him not to speak to her unless they're in a lesson. Saying that, she turns and leaves, leaving Noah to notice the attention she draws in the classroom. Other students gather around Noah, praising him for his impressive wind spells. Feeling proud, Noah brags that he doesn't want to reveal his secrets, but he could teach them. The room suddenly falls silent when Hilo enters. All attention shifts to her, leaving Noah confused by the sudden change in atmosphere. It's then that he notices a mischievous student discreetly preparing a bubble spell in his hand. Watching this, Noah realizes that Hilo is an outcast the students love to bully. He could have ignored it, but something inside him won't let him look away. Soon, the student launches the bubble spell toward the unsuspecting Hilo. However, just as it's about to hit her, it stops in midair, blocked by a powerful wind spell. The mischievous student is shocked and confused, but quickly becomes enraged upon realizing it was Noah who intervened. Meanwhile, Noah, with his classic carefree whistle, completely ignores the angry student. Hilo, still unaware of what happened behind her, glances back briefly before refocusing moments later. The instructor walks into the classroom carrying several explosive orbs, announcing to the class that it's Magic Engineering Day, and asks if anyone wants to work with the explosive devices. She pauses, looking around the room. The class remains silent, but Noah, eager to pull a reverse prank on the mischievous student, decides to take action. Using his wind magic, he subtly forces the student out of his seat. The student, shocked and confused, finds himself standing against his will, which is enough for the instructor to pick him as a volunteer. Scratching the back of his neck nervously, the mischievous student hesitates and stammers, claiming he's a summoner and that engineering should be left to the Banians. The instructor dislikes his answer and shoots him a furious glare, telling him that if he has a problem, he should complain to his father, which comes as a surprise. Hearing this revelation, the director's son, Aaron, reluctantly steps forward. Meanwhile, Noah, upon discovering Aaron's identity, gets ambitious, thinking that as the director's son, Aaron must be rich and he should try to befriend him. As Aaron holds the explosive orb, it begins to vibrate in his hands, making him even more nervous. Noticing his discomfort, the annoying Cut raises her hand and offers to help. Eager to give it a try, the instructor approves and lets her proceed. Cut approaches the device and quickly dismantles it with precision. The instructor instructs the entire class to watch her closely, emphasizing that they can't always rely on summoning magic. She then turns to Aaron and emphatically asks what he will do if he can't use magic or runs out of mana. This question makes him anxious, while the instructor adjusts her glasses and reveals that the device could save his life. Meanwhile, Noah is snoring away in the back row. Other students, noticing him dozing off, start to chat, speculating that he must be tired from using so much wind magic in the arena. The instructor also notices him and points a finger at Hilo, gesturing that she has only 1 week to train him. After class, all the students head to the cafeteria for lunch. Just as Hilo is about to sit down, she notices some water caltrops placed on her seat by Aaron as a prank. Glaring at Aaron, she's about to react when Noah comes over and sits down in her spot. Noah quickly feels something underneath him and casually removes it, saying someone must have left it there. As he tosses the caltrop, it lands directly on Aaron's plate, making him shake with rage. Aaron struggles to control his fury, but it's enough for him to confront Noah, loudly demanding to know which family he belongs to. Biting into his baguette, Noah replies that he doesn't have a family, which makes the other students in the cafeteria realize he's a commoner. They hear Aaron's words and are shocked. Everyone starts to murmur in surprise. So it's true that a commoner like Noah is studying at the academy. Aaron, sensing an opportunity to attack, asks how a commoner like Noah managed to enroll in the academy, insinuating he couldn't afford the tuition. He jokes that everyone should keep an eye on their wallets, because Noah might need some help paying his fees. Hearing this, Noah grins and starts to boast to Aaron, stating that his skills and talents far surpass the family connections and wealth of others. Elo, who is also listening in, cringes as she realizes Aaron is wasting the entire lunch break that she had planned to use for tutoring Noah. Realizing this, she yells for Aaron to back off, surprising Noah. She warns Aaron to stop, threatening to report him to the headmaster for bullying a transfer student. Aaron, hearing this, shifts his focus to Ilo, mocking her for helping a commoner. He sneers and suggests she's only doing it so that, if she gets stripped of her title, she'll at least have someone on her side. He ridicules them both, calling them a useless pair of a commoner and a fallen noble. After lunch, Ilo takes Noah to an empty classroom. Noah, referring to Ilo as his teacher, starts insisting they get right to the practical lessons instead of focusing on boring theory. Ilo firmly reminds him that she is not his teacher, to which he just shrugs, pointing out her attitude. This is almost too much for Ilo to bear, but she manages to keep her composure, reminding herself it's only for 1 week. She then places a book in front of Noah and asks what he knows about mana. Hearing this, Noah channels wind energy into his hand and asks what Ilo is talking about. Ilo looks at him, confused, since he was clearly using mana, but didn't even realize it. This idiot thought his magic and mana were two completely different things. Frustrated, Ilo decides to teach him by example. She picks up a piece of chalk and draws elements on the board, explaining that their world is composed of multiple elements. She adds that Noah uses wind magic because of the mana present in his body. However, as she continues her explanation, she notices Noah dozing off. This irritates Ilo, so she conjures a small fireball and wakes him up with it. When Noah jolts awake, she yells at him, explaining that mana is like a power source that allows the body to use magic. Ilo asks Noah what he does when he runs out of mana, to which he casually replies that he just runs away. Hearing this, Ilo is deeply disappointed. She points out that he's relying solely on the mana inside his body, and, in her opinion, this is the reason he's holding himself back, bringing the focus back to mana. She explains that there are two types of energy, one that a person is born with and another that exists all around. She raises her finger and explains that if someone only uses the mana inside their own body, they will eventually deplete it. To demonstrate, she casts a spell that disturbs the air around her. Seeing this, Noah comments that it looks like magic, but Ilo, irritated, then conjures a small fireball on her finger and explains to him how to draw mana from the world around him instead of depleting the energy inside his body. She encourages him to gather the mana on his finger, just like she did. Our dumb boy still does not get it, which only makes Hilo more irritated, thinking he was not paying attention to her. Eventually, Noah agrees and tries using his finger, but is shocked to see something forming on it. He has never felt anything like it before and asks if it is another one of her tricks. Hilo smiles and advises him to gently release the wind he is feeling. When Noah unleashes a huge tornado that rips through the room, shattering all the glass windows, the sheer power of it shocks Noah, as he cannot believe he did that all by himself. Meanwhile, Hilo realizes that Noah is more talented than she thought, and begins to understand why the headmaster allowed him to enter the academy in the middle of the semester. In the headmaster's office, while he is working, Aaron is sitting in front of him. The headmaster asks if Aaron has met the new student, which makes him nervous, thinking his father might know what happened in the cafeteria. However, to his surprise, the headmaster praises him and advises him to keep doing what he is doing, believing it will help bring out the best in Noah. Aaron cannot believe it and argues that Noah is not a summoner and that his father has overestimated his worth, but, to his shock, his father expresses confidence in Noah, stating that he will prove himself in the future, just as Aaron did when he was adopted years ago. Back in the classroom, Noah is still shocked that he produced such strong energy on his own. Trying to act cool, Hilo reveals to Noah that the academy is full of mana, and that what he did was simply using that. Despite her dislike for Noah, Hilo feels a certain pride, because under her teaching, he was able to harness mana. She is relieved that the lesson is not taking as long as she expected, and is glad she will not have to give him extra lessons. After Noah understands the basics, Hilo tells him to open the book to the basic theories section. Noah, realizing he still has to read books to fully understand mana, is a bit surprised. He then nervously asks Hilo if it is time for their class yet, but she denies it, saying there is still plenty of time since the next class is at the stadium. Noah, dreading reading the book, tries to make another excuse to go to the bathroom. However, Hilo sees right through him and threatens him to open the book. Feeling the pressure, Noah reluctantly picks up the book, but to Hilo's shock, he opens it upside down, and she's amazed that he can't even open a book the right way. Trying to defend himself, Noah lies, saying he was just confused and that's why he opened it that way. Hilo, now feeling a mix of fury and disbelief, tells him to turn to page 121 and read from the book open in front of him. Noah can barely read a single word, making Hilo tremble with frustration. This is too much for Hilo, and she screams at the top of her lungs, asking how he expects to pass the exam if he can't even read. Frustrated, Hilo storms out of the classroom for her next class, but a disappointed Noah follows her. She warns him to keep his distance, but since he wants to learn, he insists on staying close. Hilo wonders if he'll even make it through the next class, especially since it's taught by a strict professor. As they approach the stadium, the students are already gathered in front of Professor Cyrus. Upon seeing him, Noah realizes he's the same professor whose room he accidentally barged into earlier. Cyrus also notices they're late and tells them to fall in line. As they line up, the sergeant introduces himself to Noah as the one in charge of practical arts, mentioning that Noah is a new transfer student. Then, he reveals to everyone that a major event has occurred in their nation, its withdrawal from the Grand Alliance. According to him, this not only impacts the fate of their nation but also the careers of every student and the classes related to this event. He explains that in order to contribute to the war, they must first learn how to survive. So, today's lesson will focus on hand-to-hand combat, without the use of any magic. He wants to see how they perform when they run out of mana on the battlefield. After explaining everything, he asks for volunteers. Everyone hesitates, but from the crowd, Aaron raises his hand, eager to try. For his opponent, he chooses the newbie, Noah. Smirking at Noah, he taunts him, suggesting that Noah would probably refuse. Aaron knew Noah's only talent was wind enhancement, so a hand-to-hand fight without magic would be heavily in his favor. Aaron walked onto the training ground, remembering his father's words, comparing Noah to him. Meanwhile, Noah just stood there, yawning. This only made Aaron even more furious. In his rage, Aaron warned Noah that he wouldn't walk away from this unscathed, but Noah just looked tired and low on energy. After all the talk, Cyrus interrupted them and announced the start of the match. As Aaron and Noah faced off, Aaron quickly clenched his fists and, letting out a yell, lunged at Noah with all his strength. However, with just a quick tilt of his head, Noah dodged the attack. Aaron followed up with another punch, but Noah dodged it as well by ducking. Aaron then unleashed a barrage of attacks, all of which Noah dodged, leaving Aaron completely shocked. Noah realizes he was facing a weaker opponent than he expected, since Aaron is just a beta. Watching the fight, Cut starts explaining what it means to be a Banian in the kingdom. She reveals that she is a Banian, which means someone with weak magical power but a specialization in magical engineering. Most elves, like the director, are born with magical talent, but their population is small compared to others. Among humans, there's only a 20% chance of being born with magical powers, and even fewer can wield remarkable magic, like Noah, Ilo, and a few other students. As for those who can't use magic, Cut believes confidently that she could easily overpower them with her big robot Rukuma, as she muttered these thoughts to herself. A nearby student overheard Cut and looked visibly uncomfortable. Noticing this, Cut quickly tries to clarify, insisting she meant no harm. According to Cut, most sorcerers in the kingdom are weak. For example, Aaron. They think they're superior simply because they can use magic. Back to the fight, Aaron is furious for missing all his strikes. Frustrated, he yells, announcing his final blow. However, as he charges, Noah easily dodges, and by jumping, causing Aaron to fall flat on his face. Cut watches Aaron and finds him pathetic. She notes that as a mage, you can only acquire a limited number of skills during your time at the academy, and if you focus too much on magic, you fail to develop physical strength. Aaron struggles to his feet, panting and clearly frustrated. Meanwhile, Noah taunts him, asking if that's all he's got, before casually revealing he hasn't even started yet. Aaron, trembling with rage, clenches his fists and curses in frustration. Noah notices Aaron's persistence but knows he must end the fight quickly, as it's starting to drag on. He dashes towards Aaron with impressive speed, leaving Aaron shocked by how fast he is. When Noah reaches him, he quickly moves behind him, leaving him completely confused about where Noah went. Meanwhile, Noah lightly taps the back of Aaron's knees, causing him to buckle and fall to the ground. Striking a typical anime antagonist pose, Noah points at Aaron's defeated state and arrogantly declares that this is the abyss between them. Watching from the sidelines, Cut feels uneasy about Noah dragging out the fight, worried that Aaron might still have a trick up his sleeve. Aaron did not take the humiliation well. Furious, he yells for his friend to throw him the summoning book. Though hesitant at first, the friend gives in to Aaron's demands and tosses the book his way. Catching it with ease, Aaron's face twists into a sinister grin, with an almost maniacal expression. He opens the book and calls for Kyle, declaring it was time to eliminate Noah as the summoning is completed. A powerful masked monster materializes out of thin air, and Noah's confidence falters as he takes in its fierce appearance. Without wasting a moment, the monster fires a massive water cannon. directly at Noah. Acting on instinct, Noah dodges just in time, narrowly avoiding the powerful attack. The blast misses Noah but hits the wall behind him, instantly melting it into a puddle of sludge. Noah gathers swirling energy in his hand and reminds Aaron that he's cheating, since they weren't supposed to be using magic. This infuriates Aaron even more, who screams at the top of his lungs, declaring that on the battlefield, survival is all that matters, as Aaron continues to rant. His summon launches another blast of water at Noah. This time, Noah counters with his own spell, stopping the attack just inches from hitting him. Struggling to contain the attack, Noah notices that the smile of Aaron is turning even more sinister. Meanwhile, Professor Ciro stands by silently, watching the confrontation with a sense of pride, as the headmaster's son, Aaron, is clearly pushing the new transfer student to his limits. As the two spells collide, the blast of water begins to evaporate, enveloping the entire stadium in a thick cloud of steam. Noah admits that, initially, he wanted to befriend Aaron since he is the headmaster's son, but now he has no choice but to fight him. With determination in his eyes, Noah unleashes a powerful attack of swirling wind at Aaron's summon. The summon retaliates with its water cannon, and as the two forces collide, a huge explosion erupts in the arena. All the students, including Hilo, are hit by the shockwave and anxiously await the outcome. When the smoke clears, Aaron and his summon stand unscathed, while Noah is shown bruised and leaning against a wall that he was seemingly thrown into with great force. That evening, after class ends, all the students head back to their dorms, excitedly chattering about the magic duel that had just unfolded. Meanwhile, Hilo stands before the fallen Noah. Cootie also rushes over to him, looking worried. However, just as Cootie is about to reach him, Hilo shoots her a death glare, which is enough to send her scurrying away. Exhausted, Noah looks up at Hilo's stern expression and asks why she's so mad. Hilo, clearly upset, says she's angry because Noah dragged the fight out for way too long, causing all this chaos. She's also mad at him for letting Aaron get his hands on the book, something Noah should have prevented in order to beat him fair and square. Another mistake, according to Hilo, was taking on a summon head-on, something that even powerful mages struggle with. Hearing her rant, Noah realizes this is why she's so upset. Seeing him act so nonchalant about it only frustrates Hilo even more, making her scream at him for losing a battle he should have won. She is furious that he didn't collect mana, just as she had taught him before. Despite being scolded, Noah reveals that he doesn't care. According to him, it's not like he was getting paid to win or anything. Enraged, Hilo asks if he has no pride, since money isn't everything. However, in Noah's eyes, if he held onto pride, he wouldn't have survived this long. Hearing his response, Hilo yells even louder, exclaiming that if he only cares about money, he should become a merchant or something. Saying that, Hilo storms off, revealing she won't have any more lessons with Noah, as it's just a waste of time. Noah, acting indifferent, knows that the students there don't understand what is really happening. As night falls, Hilo arrives in her dorm room, still irritated about what happened at the stadium. She is furious with herself for expecting anything from Noah. In her rage, she sits down on her bed, only to be shocked to realize that her wolf teddy bear is missing. She starts searching for it, checking under her pillow and in the drawer, but it is nowhere to be found. Confused, she wonders where it went, but she suddenly realizes that Noah must have taken it. She suspects him, thinking that he had been in her room before, which made it easy for him to steal it. However, she is intrigued about his reasons for doing this. As she recalls her behavior with Noah over the last few days, she realizes he might have had a motive for taking the doll. Sitting back down on the bed, she internally screams with worry over the teddy bear missing wolf. Meanwhile, Aaron and his companions are heading to the dormitories, with his classmates praising him for his victory over Noah. However, despite the victory, Aaron doesn't seem particularly excited. He asks his companions to leave him, as he wants to walk alone. As he walks down the corridor, he feels a pain in his arm from the fight with Noah. The impact still hurts. As he continues on, he finds Professor Cyrus waiting for him. Seeing this, Aaron is a little confused and asks about it. Professor Cyrus reveals that Aaron's father is waiting for him in the office. When Aaron enters the office, he notices his father with a smile on his face, greeting him warmly. His father reveals that he has something important to discuss and asks if Aaron minds. With a nervous laugh, Aaron replies that he doesn't mind and is free to talk. This way, they can discuss whatever it is. During this, his father asks about his roommate and his school routine. Meanwhile, Aaron becomes more nervous, noticing a change in his father's demeanor, which is not typical of him. However, his father quickly changes the subject and gets straight to the point, asking Aaron about being rude to his teachers. Upon hearing this, Aaron gets even more nervous and a little scared. He kneels on the floor, apologizing, as his father approaches with a smile. his father reveals that he will be away on important business, and tells Aaron that if he completes his work while he is away, he will be well rewarded. His tone then turns serious as he warns that if Aaron fails, he will have no choice but to punish him. The next day in class, the supervisor is beaming over the efforts of Noah and Hilo. She praises them for sacrificing their free time to practice rudimentary magic. She is eager to see how they will do on the upcoming test. Noah thanks her for recognizing their efforts. He sheds tears of pride, while Hilo stands beside him, still suspicious since losing her stuffed wolf. Hilo has searched everywhere and questioned everyone, but she could not find it. She still suspects Noah is the culprit, but she knows he is not foolish enough to sneak into the girls' dorm again. While she is thinking about this, Noah channels his mana, creating a ball of energy and launching it into the air, illuminating the entire room. Reluctantly, she realizes she will have to ask Noah for help. She dislikes the idea, but knows that if she pays him well, she might be able to convince him to help her. Meanwhile, the supervisor, observing Noah create the ball of energy using mana, is impressed with his progress and acknowledges his effort. Noah dances with enthusiasm, boasting about being a genius, happy with his efforts. The supervisor grants him a day off for his dedication, before leaving to attend to some urgent matters. Elsewhere, Hilo hesitantly calls out for Noah and asks if he still works as a fixer. She reveals that the little bear he brought her has disappeared and asks if he could help her find it, promising to pay well. Noah is surprised by the request, especially after she offers to pay him. Noah, changing his attitude, arrogantly boasts that he has his own pride to consider, and comments that now that he has passed the test, they will not need to see each other again. Noah's response leaves Hilo completely shocked, but to make matters worse, he casually says goodbye and walks away, leaving Hilo furious, wondering what to do next. Meanwhile, in the kingdom of Estiodam, the throne room is buzzing with activity. As various members of royalty and dignitaries gather, the room murmurs with conversation, as the nobles await the arrival of His Majesty. Soon, the large doors creak open, but instead of the king, a heavily armored knight enters. The knight calls for the Lord Chamberlain, and begins a private conversation. The nobles present watch with curiosity and growing concern, unable to discern what is being discussed when the knight finishes speaking. The Lord Chamberlain's expression shifts to one of deep concern, heightening the discomfort in the room. Wiping the sweat from his brow, Lord Emberlin addresses those present, apologizing for keeping them waiting. He then informs them that the meeting is cancelled and, lowering his gaze, solemnly declares under the king's authority, Shchiodon's independence from the Grand Alliance. The room erupts in disbelief and gasps as the gravity of the announcement sinks in. Meanwhile, the director observes the scene with a mysterious smile on his face. A nobleman, unable to contain his outrage, shouts, demanding to know why His Majesty is not present. Looking at the knight, the Lord Chamberlain replies that the king is in poor health and cannot attend. The nobleman, still unconvinced, turns to Mars, urging him to say something. Clenching his fists and briefly closing his eyes, Mars declares that they have been deceived. As the tension in the air rises, the director tries to leave the room discreetly. However, just as he's about to leave, Mars stops him. Suspicious of the director, Mars accuses him of being aware of this plan all along. The director, with a nonchalant attitude, dismisses any accusations of his involvement. In response, he offers a cryptic prayer for Mars's family, which, instead of bringing relief, only increases Mars's concern. As the director leaves, accompanied by Professor Cyrus, he remarks that, now that Stiodon has secured the assets of the fallen nation, it would be foolish to remain in the Grand Alliance. The director, turning slightly toward him, asks what he believes will happen if they break ties. Cyrus reveals that military tensions will undoubtedly escalate, leading to the cessation of alliance funding, which is an outcome they could exploit for profit. The director, with a cunning smile spreading across his face, replies that they will not only profit but also plunge the region into war. With a glint of ambition in his eyes, he adds that they are about to make history in these times of war. Saying this, the director laughs. His laughter soon turns into a loud and maniacal cackle. It seems everything has fallen perfectly into place for him, and he clearly has a plan in motion. Meanwhile, in the boys' dormitory at the academy, Noah receives a letter. Curious, he picks it up and examines it. However, upon opening it, he finds the page completely blank, which surprises him. Suspicious, he channels mana energy through his hand, revealing a hidden message within the letter. What he reads leaves him in disbelief. It instructs him to spy on Elo. The next day in class, Noah is really tired after spending the whole night thinking about the letter he received. He has no idea who could have made such a request, offering 10,000 gold up front, and 30,000 upon completion. With that much gold, Noah could easily pay off his debt and start over, but he finds the situation a bit suspicious. Besides, Noah has already been rude to Hilo, so he can't even talk to her. And, to spy, he needs to find a way to get close to her. As he slumps over his desk, lost in thought, the tutor notices and finds his behavior strange. After finishing the lecture, the supervisor informs all the students about an upcoming position tournament, which requires a powerful team composition. She instructs everyone to hand in their applications by the end of the day, after forming teams. The whole class starts chatting, trying to find their teammates. While Cut is excited to form a team with Noah, he agrees to join her, but then notices Hilo, who is sitting alone with no one around. He starts considering making her a teammate. Other students have also heard about the fall of the Seaground family and are gossiping about it, joking that she might have to drop out of school because of it. Noah, hearing this, gets a little worried about her, realizing that she's suffering. Because of her noble background, the students keep mocking her, pointing out that she's pretending to ignore them, even after hearing their taunts. However, Noah tells them off. He says that they're all friends and shouldn't bully or mock Hilo like that. He, trying to scare them, says that if they keep doing it, they'll get bad karma. Hearing all this, Hilo gets up and leaves the room, while the students continue speculating and chattering behind her. Noah runs ahead of her and clarifies that he was just trying to help, but, with an angry expression, she stops and looks at him, reminding him that it's her problem. At this, Noah freezes, as Hilo continues to call him a stalker, saying he promised not to see her again and, yet, here he is, following her. Noah flinches, hiding his intention, and denies following her. However, Hilo notices something, and with a death glare, demands that he be honest with her. This makes Noah even more worried, thinking she might know about the letter he received. However, to his shock, she yells at him, accusing Noah of stealing her stuffed wolf. Relieved that she doesn't know about the letter, Noah denies taking her plushie. However, this starts an argument between them, with both of them yelling at each other, until Cut arrives and informs them that they are now teammates. Both of them, sweating and panting, are confused about what she's talking about, to which Cut shows them the application form, where her, Noah's, and Hilo's names are written down as a team. Cut filled out the form by herself, since Noah and Hilo had no one else to team up with, and they could all work together. As Cut keeps talking about what a good team they are, both of them, eager to cut her off, claim they get it. This gets Cut excited, so she breaks it down, explaining that they are a perfect team, because they have a summoner, an elementalist, and a magic engineer. Hearing this, Noah also realizes he might have a chance to get closer to Ilo to spy on her. He's still on the fence about accepting this request, but he's sure it'll work. Curious about it, Noah excitedly agrees, while a shocked Ilo just stares at him. Ilo doesn't have a problem with the team either, but then she screams while choking Noah, since she refuses to join him before getting her teddy bear back. Noah, struggling for air, tries to plead his innocence, but she isn't buying it. Meanwhile, somewhere on the streets, the stuffed wolf is all alone. It's standing below the girls' dormitory building, when suddenly, someone from behind grabs it by the head and lifts it up. As he picks it up, the guy wonders who owns the little teddy bear. Meanwhile, back in the academy building, Noah and his team are having a meeting led by Cut. They are a team, but according to Cut, they still need a tank, and for that, they need to recruit someone for the role. Cut already has someone in mind for the role, a person who is a Galagon, speculating that he probably hasn't found a team yet. Upon hearing that the person is a Galagon, both Noah and Ilo are shocked. Cut, with a determined look, reveals her plan is to recruit all the outcasts who don't have teams, so they can all fit together perfectly. This whole outcast thing frustrates Ilo even more, but all she can do is bottle up her frustration and listen. Cut continues, saying that the person is Noah's roommate, and will be a perfect tank for their team. Noah realizes she's talking about his roommate, but he's worried that he might make Cut uncomfortable. Cut denies it, saying it's already been 4 years since the Galagon War ended. Even the principal, who fought in the Galagon War and lost someone early on to one of them, accepted Mumu, a Galagon, into his academy. The war left scars, but according to Cut, talent is talent, and no one can ignore that. However, Noah hesitates, as his father also died fighting in the Galagon War. Cut, trying to make him understand, says the Galagons weren't the ones to blame, since it was their king who started the war. Ilo is also in favor of having Mumu on the team, since it's just a group project. Even though they both agree, Noah still feels a bit uncomfortable about teaming up with a Galagon. While all this is going on, Ilo still hasn't gotten her teddy bear back. How did that happen? Well, while she was sleeping with it, the teddy bear suddenly awakens, sensing movement in the room. It was an enchanted teddy bear, designed to protect her. On that day, the little bear was on its A game, watching a mosquito buzzing around the room to protect Hilo from it. The teddy bear leaps toward the mosquito, but accidentally falls out of the 3-story dorm window and lands on the street. Meanwhile, Hilo is sleeping peacefully. Despite the fall, the teddy bear decides to climb back up. However, his attempts fail repeatedly. While he's lying on the ground, discouraged, a person appears, picks him up, and what happens next remains unknown. Back at the meeting, Noah is still grumbling about the idea of including Mumu on their team, since he's a Galagon. Cut is also in favor of including Mumu on their team, as he is incredibly strong in close-quarters combat, despite being weak in magic. According to Hilo, he's perfect for them, since they lack physical power among the 3 of them. Cut, hearing her opinion, is quite impressed with Hilo. As they argue, they arrive at Mumu's hideout, and upon entering, it's filled with branches and flowers. It's like an entire garden. Seeing this, Noah is shocked, not even remembering what word to use to describe the atmosphere of the place, and Hilo fills in the blank by saying it's beautiful, something Noah has a hard time saying. Upon hearing her, Noah denies it, revealing he was thinking of something much better than that. Meanwhile, Hilo, noticing the gardens around, realizes it's a rather extravagant hobby, and the upkeep must be a hassle for Mumu. Hearing this, Noah wonders if all of this is quite expensive, but Cut reveals that it's about the effort it requires. Hilo, walking around, remembers she also had a garden like this at home, but then feels a bit sad, thinking that it's now abandoned, since no one is there to take care of it after her mother's death. As they look around, Noah and Hilo are dumbfounded when they spot her teddy bear in the garden. Hilo, running towards it, can't believe how it got there. However, someone then steps out of the shadows. This figure is wearing a farmer's hat and stands imposingly over them, asking who they are and what they want. Hilo, enraged, yells at him, convinced that he's the one who stole her teddy bear. However, the man seems oblivious. Cut yells that they shouldn't be shouting at the man, since they are there to recruit him, but Hilo, with her maniacal smile, is now thinking about teaching him a lesson. Even the guy who is Mumu, the one they wanted to recruit, is quite worried about Hilo's behavior. As she screams at the top of her lungs to get her teddy bear back, she then threatens him to cooperate, or she'll have no choice but to burn the whole place down. Hearing this, Mumu tries to stop her, but since she's furious, she pulls out her book and calls her summon, Garoti. As she does this, Mumu, with his muscular build, grabs her entire body, causing the summoning book to fall from her hands to the ground. She gets even more furious now that he has touched her, but is shocked at how quickly he grabbed her. Mumu, realizing he went too far, backs off, telling her she can't just burn his things. While all this is happening, Noah is in the background watching everything. Ilo notices him and yells for him to help get her teddy bear back, promising she'll apologize for blaming him. Realizing she's going to apologize, Noah agrees, but he knows it won't change anything, since Galagons, once they set their eyes on something, never let go. They're quite greedy. Thinking about this, Noah changes his mind and turns away, saying she'll have to give up on the doll and that it was a very bad idea to try and recruit a Galagon. This comment doesn't sit well with Mumu, who slams his hand on the table, asking what Noah meant by that. Noah gets a little worried when Mumu asks why they're treating him like this. This enrages Mumu even more, who leaps towards Noah, throwing a heavy punch. However, Noah, with his classic sidestep, dodges, revealing that Mumu is as scary as they say, as he could kill someone with that punch. Mumu, trying to justify himself, reveals he was just trying to make them leave, to which Noah brings up the Galagon War and his role in it, blaming him for starting the war. This freezes Mumu, while Ilo, a bit confused, wonders why Noah is mentioning the war. So, Mumu, clenching his fists, argues with Noah to forget about it, saying that was 4 years ago. However, while the war may have ended for Mumu, it hasn't ended in Noah's mind. He never forgave the Galagons. Saying this, Noah leaps towards Mumu with his fist charged. However, Mumu absorbs the blow with his block. Everyone there is shocked, as even though Noah used his full strength in that magic attack, Mumu still doesn't seem affected at all. Despite being blocked, Noah channels his wind spell into his hand, revealing to Mumu that he heard they could tear someone apart with their bare hands. This comment enrages Mumu even more, who clenches his fist, veins popping, leaping and lunging at Noah, while yelling that what Noah said is just a rumor. Noah dodges, but realizes that if the blow hits him, he'd be sent flying. Mumu follows up, grabbing Noah's hand and, with full force, throws him towards the ceiling. The force is so great that Noah knows he went too far. He crashes into the ceiling and then falls back to the floor. Despite the heavy hit, he gets up and charges at Mumu, saying he's not holding back anymore. With that, he channels his wind energy into his hand, concentrates it, and launches it at Mumu. The blast blinds Mumu, giving Noah the chance to jump into the air and attack. Elo, watching Noah go all out, thinks this is pretty childish. However, she notices the teddy bear was left on the bench while Mumu is distracted fighting. Just as she's about to grab it, Noah collides with the nearby wall. Our girl looks at him in his defeated state and she feels a little bad, realizing it's her fault they're fighting. Noticing Mumu advancing towards Noah, and Elo realizes she should help him. Despite finding Noah annoying, she intervenes by shouting for them both to stop. She turns to Noah and asks why he is so aggressive with Mumu. Cutie is also crying because they only came to recruit. Hearing Cutie talk about recruiting Mumu for the tournament, Noah agrees to stop. Mumu also hears her talking about the tournament and asks about it. Cutie, apologizing, reveals the purpose of their visit, thinking he won't accept. Cutie offers to help clean up the mess they made, but to her surprise, Mumu agrees. Everyone is shocked when he reveals that he wants to represent his village, and that's why he enrolled in the academy. Initially, his race was blamed for the war, so they were outcasts, until one day the headmaster accepted him. However, his village paid a high price for it. This is the reason why Mumu agreed, so that he can live up to his village's expectations. A little embarrassed, Mumu reveals that he has no friends at the academy, as everyone is afraid of him. This is the first time someone has invited him to join a team. Upon hearing this, both Ilo and Cutie feel proud, while Noah turns away, not happy about it. Noticing, Cutie asks him to cheer up, to which he asks about the teddy bear he was wrongly accused of stealing. Mumu picks it up and returns the teddy bear, revealing he found it near the dorms. Ilo accepts, saying it's okay, since she got it back. Cutie, scribbling on the registration form, is very excited that everyone agrees with the team she put together. Now they are all a team. Mumu is also quite excited, while Ilo is just okay with it and Noah, despite not being happy, agrees. Writing down all the names, Cutie runs back to the supervisor's office to hand in the registration form. Meanwhile, Noah, standing there, reveals to Ilo that his father died in the Galagon War. She is shocked, to which Noah, with a sad expression, adds that this is why his mother told him to hide his abilities. This was on his mind and he vented to Ilo, who remained silent listening to him. Suddenly, Noah realizes he has said a little too much about himself, so he walks off, with Ilo following him. The teddy bear is also on high alert, as there are many insects nearby. Meanwhile, a blue-haired guy is channeling a spell. Looking at it, he states that something has found its master again. He is spying on someone using the spell in a floating kingdom, and the blue-haired man, Ruben, is writing something on paper. When his assistant calls him, she opens the creaking door, asking about the report he is working on. Ruben looks at her with a smile, revealing that he has been working very hard. As the assistant leaves the room, he tells Ruben he wants the report as soon as possible, despite his smile. Ruben finds the deadline quite tight. He's working on a report about the elf director, and finds the task rather complicated. Meanwhile, in the Steodon Empire, the director is in a cemetery. He picks up a bouquet of roses from his wife's grave, with Cyrus by his side. Cyrus offers to take the flowers to his office, but he replies that he'll do it himself. 62 years ago, the director became part of Steodon's history. He joined the Glazer family by marrying Delina Glazer. After 50 years of marriage, she died, and he became the head of the Glazer family. He then participated in the Galagon War with great success. He later created an academy in his wife's name, all while burning the bouquet he brought from her grave with a blast of dark magic. He throws it in the trash can, where it burns with dark flames. The director also adopted war orphans, training them to join the Stilden army. All of this is also written in the report Ruben is working on, and he's looking for something suspicious in it. However, despite his gut feeling, he feels that something is missing. He then notices a symbol at the end of the report and realizes it's the mark of the scumbag who killed his allies to steal a relic. Back at the academy, the director is walking down the stairs of a tower, and he reaches a heavy metal gate. Upon opening the gate, the director stands before a chained man. The man begs to be freed. He is in a worn-out and terrible state, yet there's a relic embedded in his chest. The director looks at him and asks why he wants to go back home. He points out that he has no family to return to and is an official deserter, so no one is looking for him. With an authoritative tone, the director orders him to summon a monster. The man starts to cry even more. This leads the director to grab his head forcefully, threatening that he can only leave if he obeys. Under the threat, the man begins to channel his mana with great effort, causing the relic to shimmer with energy, illuminating the entire room in a burst of power. This is also hurting the man terribly as he pushes with all his might, until the relic bursts from his chest. This kills him, causing the director to snap, revealing it was yet another failure. The snap disintegrates the man in midair, as the relic levitates toward the director. This was an experiment to summon a monster, using a Zelkrino human implant. But it failed. So, the director considers using another test subject while standing over the man's scattered remains. Standing up, the director turns and reveals that Aaron is next. Meanwhile, on the streets, Noah and Elo are at the market. Elo tries to speak to Noah in a strange code, but an annoyed Noah tells her to speak plainly. This infuriates Elo, who warns him that if anyone finds out they have a summoner on their team, they'll become targets. Noah reveals that she's already told him that, but since they're on a break, they can talk normally. Frustrated, she scolds Noah, saying he's the reason they couldn't practice for the tournament that's now approaching. She recalls that he and Mumu have always been awkward with each other, making practice difficult. Noah coughs nervously, claiming they did their best. As they talk, Kuti arrives, sitting on Mumu's shoulder. Mumu and Noah quickly notice each other and things get awkward again. This frustrates Illis, but Kuti remains calm, thinking everything will be fine. According to her, even though they haven't had much time to prepare, they are skilled enough to figure it out. Despite her frustration, Illis controls herself. Meanwhile, Kuti adds that they're just doing this for fun as they continue their conversation. Someone approaches them. Aram, upon hearing Kuti say they're having fun, he gets frustrated, especially since Noah humiliated him earlier. He's now determined to teach them a lesson for what they did outside the castle. As night falls, the director addresses the students, announcing the start of the tournament. Before starting, he informs them about the political situation that has resulted in some chaos. However, he wants the tournament to be for everyone, encouraging them all to do their best and push their limits. His words capture the crowd's attention, especially Noah and his team. After the director's supervisor explains the rules, she reveals that the first event will be a treasure hunt, where they will search for treasure balls. The team that finds the ball containing the ancient relic will win. She also explains that there is no time limit for the event, and adds that stealing treasure from others will be considered cheating. After the rules, Kuti and Mumu are thrilled, while Noah is excited, thinking he could get the priceless relic and sell it, and Lu also has something in mind. When the supervisor starts the event with fireworks, quickly jumping onto Mumu's shoulder, Kuti starts scanning the area and suddenly spots a ball nearby. However, she speaks a little too loudly, and her words catch the attention of the other students. As everyone searches for the ball, Kuti points it out, leading Mumu to push through the crowd toward the ball. Meanwhile, Noah and the others just stand there, watching him quickly forge ahead. Mumu grabs the ball, but the momentum sends Kuti flying into a nearby bush. She gets up excitedly, asks what's in the ball, and they discover it's a magic key that can open any door, but only once. Kuti is thrilled, as this gives them an advantage. They continue to search for more, leading them to the theory auditorium. Since it's dark, they use flashlights, while Noah is busy scaring Cut. Noah is curious if they'll find anything there, to which Hilo replies that since the event covers the entire academy, they might find something while they're in the auditorium. Aaron and his group enter, stubbornly calling them outcasts. Cut defends herself, saying that she isn't the outcast, while the rest of them are. Hilo also approaches Aaron, telling him to move aside, as they need to get through. However, Aaron starts mocking her, saying she's all confident because of her loser friends. He continues to mock the group, calling them a mix of a useless commoner and a weird fig tree, but then he notices the imposing Mumu and stutters, calling him a Galagon. Aaron quickly turns around, saying he has no time to waste and needs to find the treasure. His pointless rambling confuses Noah and his group. Hilo, clearly annoyed, suggests they leave, speculating that Aaron's group might have already found something. However, as they are about to leave, Noah spots a red ball placed nearby on a table. They are confused as to how Aaron's group didn't see it. It's because Aaron, remembering his father's words about fulfilling his role, placed a hand-drawn map on a piece of paper inside the ball and left it there. He is determined to find all the treasure and rub it in their faces. Following the map, it leads to a mountainous area near the academy, but Noah's group is confused since they still haven't found anything. Hilo, annoyed, is suspicious of the map, finding it a bit suspicious, especially since it marks a restricted area. Mumu adds that if it was in the ball, it must be legit. Suddenly, Cut tells everyone to be quiet, as she hears something. When everyone falls silent, the entire area becomes eerily quiet, without a single sound. This annoys Hilo even more, who asks what Cut meant by hearing something, and why she was giving orders. Cut swears she heard something, when suddenly, Noah's expression changes to terror as he notices something behind Hilo. In another part of the jungle, there's a warning sign labeling the area as off-limits, with a warning message about military trials for trespassers. Nearby, there's a fort with a person inside, and in this prison, there are piles of bodies, including the one the director was experimenting on. The person has turned into something like a zombie, growling around. Back with the group, Noah points out that he noticed something behind Hilo, but when she looks, it's just a small rock that Noah levitated with his magic. She doesn't find it funny, while Noah laughs, trying to convince her it was to lighten the mood all of a sudden. Noah is completely shocked when he hears a growl coming from the nearby bushes. Hearing this, Cut starts to freak out, and Mumu is also terrified of what it could be. Noah, a little scared, speculates that it might be a treasure orb, but Hilo confidently dismisses their fears, saying they're all talking nonsense. She remains unconcerned, stating that the worst it could be is a wild animal. However, when she opens the bushes, to her surprise, it's the zombie. Upon noticing the zombie, Cut and Mumu lose it, screaming for Hilo to run. Hilo, without enough time to react, just flinched. The zombie lunges towards her, but just as it's about to grab Hilo, a gust of wind hits it in the gut. It's Noah, who yells for Hilo to go after Cut and Mumu, who have already taken off and are running for their lives. When the zombie regains its balance, Noah and Hilo start running, yelling for their companions to stop. The zombie doesn't stop either, and continues to follow them. Then, Cut yells for Hilo to just burn it. Mumu, who is ahead, warns them not to do that, as they'll burn down the whole forest if they do. Hilo, deciding to summon Gauss, stops, but when she's about to use the summoning book, she realizes it's not there. Realizing it's gone, Hilo is utterly shocked and screams throughout the forest. In the headmaster's office, he and Cyrus wonder what results the student group will be able to bring. Cyrus is more intrigued about what the final treasure is and why the headmaster chose it. Looking out the window of his room, the headmaster reveals that he just hopes that the students' skills will improve through the tournament. Back on the mountain, Noah and his team, while running, reach a dead-end cliff. With nowhere to go, Noah decides to handle the situation, ordering the team to split up. Noah knows that this way, the monster will have to choose one of them. He charges a heavy ball of wind in his hands, and according to Noah, at least some of them can get to a safe place. However, despite his determination, Hilo finds it annoying, knowing there's no other way. Noah sends a tornado attack towards the zombie, and it starts to spin, blinding it. The zombie mutters something, which shocks Noah. In this moment of shock, Noah accidentally steps off the cliff and free falls towards the ground below. Seeing him fall, Hilo wonders if he's dead. And hearing this, Mumu starts to cry loudly. Despite being the tough one, Cut is also panicking, but she has a device up her sleeve. She pulls out an emergency exit mask, which is just a normal sleeping mask, to put herself to sleep and escape reality. Hilo yells for her to stop, while charging fire spells in both hands. She decides to risk setting the forest on fire, since she has no choice. As she's chanting, she's shocked to see that both Mumu and Cut are already far away. Now, she's all alone. As she prepares to fight, she hears him calling from the bottom of the cliff, screaming for her to jump, confident that he'll catch her if she does. Seeing the zombie coming toward her, she jumps, trusting Noah. However, in classic Noah fashion, he fails to catch her and she hits the ground. It hurt, but relieved that the zombie stopped chasing them, Noah is curious about what that thing was, to which Hilo replies that there's no point in thinking about it. She's also furious with Cut and Mumu for running away and leaving them behind. When the chase ends, they both decide to look for Hilo's book, while the zombie returns to where it came from. Noah breaks down, shedding tears and falling to the ground, joining the other pile of bodies. After searching for a while, they find the book and return to the academy, where they're shocked to see Mumu and Cut there. However, Noah is confused about what they're doing, gathering a crowd around them. As soon as they notice Noah is alive, they get emotional, unable to believe it. Meanwhile, Hilo is furious, because they left them to die in the face of danger. Cut, trying to justify herself, starts rambling about what she did and how it's all a big misunderstanding. Noah, interrupting her, questions the people they've gathered. Cut reveals that the map is fake, which other students had also received. So, she gathered them to get clues and find the culprit. After this, Hilo gets even more furious, feeling like Cut was off on a treasure hunt while they were fighting zombies. However, Cut reveals that they also collected a lot of treasure balls. Mumu enthusiastically shows them what they found in the balls, but an enraged Hilo smashes them on the ground, furious about it. Giving in, they both reveal that they found a riddle to get the final treasure, which Mumu memorized while looking for smaller ones. Hilo, now curious about the riddle, listens, as Cut reveals it says something about something that kills everything, destroys kings, and even turns the young old. As she's revealing the riddle, Hilo completes it, which shocks them. She reveals to them that it's a famous classic riddle. It's time, as time turns everything to nothing. Saying this, Hilo suddenly realizes something and looks at the clock tower. She tells the others, but her words are overheard by nearby students, who start running toward it, getting a head start on them. Hilo realizes they can't catch up to the students on foot, so she orders Mumu to throw Noah so he can fly the rest of the way, with his wind magic. Noah thinks it's ridiculous, saying she must be possessed to come up with something like that. But before he can say another word, Mumu lifts him into the air, and with all his might, throws Noah like a rag doll. It's a special attack called the Mumu Throw. Wow, what an innovative name. As he's thrown, Noah flies through the air like a rocket, screaming at the top of his lungs. Cut, from the ground, curiously tries to spot him in the sky, and is surprised to see that he has become a dot in the sky. Cut asks about the inspiration behind the name of Mumu's attack, to which he reveals, embarrassed, that it's something he saw in a comic book. Meanwhile, Noah is shocked to be flying through the air, but he soon realizes that instead of going up, he's now coming down. Realizing the distance Mumu threw him, he's amazed, but now he needs to figure out how to land on the clock tower. To do this, he uses his wind power to propel himself through the air towards the tower. As he gets closer to the clock, he notices a ball at the junction of its hands. He lunges and grabs it, while the whole group on the ground cheers for him as he hangs from the clock. Noah holds the ball in his hands, eager to open it, but as soon as he touches it, it starts to crack. Suddenly, it explodes in a flash of light, illuminating the entire academy and revealing a summoning scroll. With that, the fireworks begin, signaling the end of the first event, as Team Noah emerges victorious. The next morning, Elo surprises the whole team by showing up with a broken arm. She believes it's from jumping off the cliff, so she can't participate in the next tournament. She wants to go home to get treated so she can participate in the next game. Cut is worried, as the next challenge is tug of war and the three of them can't play. However, Ilo makes him even more worried by revealing that Noah is going with her. Noah is confused by what she's saying, to which she smiles and reveals that her family wants to meet him since he's responsible for her condition. That day, they set off for Elo's hometown. Noah is a bit annoyed about ending up accompanying her, especially since, in his opinion, her injury has nothing to do with him. According to him, he had offered to catch her, but she didn't take his offer. While Noah is thinking about this, Ilo sits quietly in the carriage, looking out the window and reflecting on what happened a few hours earlier. That morning, Elo called home to inform them about her broken arm. Upon hearing the news, her butler was shocked and immediately asked who had hurt her and if she needed him to send a knight. He spoke so loudly that even the supervisor heard him. Ilo, trying to calm him down, revealed that she injured herself and that she just needed him to arrange for a healer to be ready when she arrived. The butler agreed, but expressed concern about Elo traveling alone. He offered to send an escort, but since that would take too long, Ilo refused. Then, he suggested she bring a friend along. Upon hearing this, Elo was surprised, as she didn't have a single friend at the academy. The butler, noticing her reaction, was a bit surprised but quickly became worried. He asked if she really had no friends. Embarrassed, Ilo lied, claiming that she had many friends eager to accompany her, making it hard to choose just one. However, deep down, she knew the truth that she was an outcast. The butler, relieved by her answer, assured her that he would make arrangements for her and her friend. Back in the present, as she thinks about the conversation, Hilo feels a bit upset with herself for having lied to the butler. Seeing Hilo's stern expression, Noah wonders if he might be in trouble for having insulted her. Being perceptive, Hilo notices his nervousness, and when she questions him, he lies, saying he's completely fine. Trying to change the subject, he asks if her family has guards, and if they detain people on her property. Realizing the source of his uneasiness, Hilo reassures him, saying she was just kidding before and that her family simply wants to meet him. However, she sternly warns him to behave with dignity in front of her family. Still nervous, Noah promises her that she can trust him to act properly. After some time, the carriage arrives at the grand estate. When they arrive, dozens of maids and butlers are lined up, waiting to welcome Hilo. Witnessing this grand reception, Noah is shocked, finally realizing the extent of her noble status. The head butler rushes towards the carriage, visibly worried about Hilo. She calmly reassures him, revealing that she is fine despite her previous injuries. Upon hearing this, the head butler is relieved and asks if Noah is the friend Hilo had mentioned bringing with her. Awkwardly, Hilo admits that he is and quickly asks the butler to escort them inside, hoping to prevent Noah from noticing her lie. As the butler leads them, Hilo becomes curious about the reduced number of staff present. The butler explains that they dismissed all the staff under 30 years old. Upon hearing this, Hilo realizes why a staff member she was fond of is no longer there. The butler then gets emotional, crying as he laments that Hilo should be enjoying her youth instead of worrying about them. Hilo, finding his dramatics annoying, ignores him. As they go up the stairs, she changes the subject, asking about the healer so she can be treated quickly. The butler confirms the healer is already waiting and offers to show Noah to his room. As they talk, Hilo notices a regal figure standing at the top of the stairs. Her heart sinks as she recognizes him. It's her father. Nervously, she calls out to him. Meanwhile, the butler, realizing his mistake, apologizes for forgetting to inform her of the early visit from her father. Her father's stern gaze fixes on her injured arm. In a deep, authoritative voice, he asks about it. Hilo hesitates, but confirms her injury. Without another word, her father walks past them, heading down the stairs with an air of disappointment. His reaction deeply hurts Hilo. Unable to bear it, she silently runs to her room. The butler calls out to her, visibly concerned, but she doesn't stop. Meanwhile, Noah is left standing in the hallway, completely bewildered by the tense encounter. In the library, the healer is treating Hilo, revealing that while the bone is fine, it will take some time for her mana to circulate properly again. This news is even more worrying, since she needs to participate in the tournament. Noah barges in without knocking, which annoys Hilo. Immediately, the healer, upon noticing him, decides to leave, assuming her friend is there to look after her. Before leaving, the healer advises her to take it easy and rest, promising to come back the next day to check on her. After the healer leaves, Noah, full of curiosity, asks how long it will take for her to recover her magical abilities. His question annoys Hilo and, frustrated, she tries to use magic. However, her spells don't work like they used to, further increasing her frustration. Noah reveals that he understands her frustration, as he's been injured many times before, and assures her she can overcome it with sheer willpower. Hilo, in her usual angry tone, retorts that she doesn't believe in willpower. However, Noah remains confident, expressing his faith that she will regain her abilities in no time. Surprised by his unwavering confidence in her, Hilo's heart softens a bit, and she hesitates and asks if he really believes that. This catches Noah off guard, as, suddenly, he feels a strange sensation within him. For the first time, he realizes he might be developing feelings for Hilo, something he never thought possible. Trying to hide his fluster, he turns away and starts babbling about the floor being too slippery. Hilo finds his behavior odd, watching with a puzzled expression. Noah's heart is still racing, unable to shake the feeling that this might be some kind of magic attack from Hilo. Hilo, acknowledging his encouragement, reveals she can't wait for her magic to recover, as she needs it for the tournament. Noah, hearing this, finds her impatience a bit concerning, thinking she's being too hard on herself. He encourages her, suggesting she take this opportunity to rest and take it easy. However, Hilo seems worried and admits she can't rest because she feels responsible for everyone on the estate. She wants to ensure she can take care of them all. Noah, trying to cheer her up, suggests she show him around the estate so that at least she can keep busy in a less stressful way. Even though she finds him annoying, she agrees. She shows him the kitchen, the sword practice grounds, and other areas of the estate. Hilo, noticing that Noah already seems familiar with the place, questions why he asked her for a tour. Noah, seeking a moment of sincerity, reveals he just wanted some fresh air and explains that it feels different when she's the one introducing him to the officials. Hilo pauses and confesses to him that if he's already met everyone, he must know she was just joking that morning when she told him the fake reason for meeting her family. Noah admits he'd already figured that out, but adds that it all makes sense to him. He believes she's trying to prove to her family that she's doing well. To his surprise, Hilo thanks him for understanding. At this, she starts walking away quickly, embarrassed, while Noah asks her about it. After walking for a while, Noah continues to tease her, joking about the unexpected thank you, but gets curious about where they're going. Arriving at a large door, she grabs the handle and tells Noah to behave himself, as they're about to enter. With a slight hesitation, she opens the door and, with a hint of regret in her voice, welcomes him to her home. They step into a vast, deserted area, and Noah is immediately shocked. His mind fills with wild thoughts, wondering if she brought him to such a desolate place to end his life for annoying her too much. Terrified, he imagines Hilo getting so furious that she might use her summoning book to call her monster wolf to finish him off. These thoughts terrify Noah so much that he curls up on the ground. Hilo watches him and asks what he's doing, snapping him back to reality and making him realize it's all just his imagination. She finds his behavior particularly strange today, but encourages him not to miss the chance to look around, revealing that this has been her favorite place since she was a child. Noah, getting up, questions her unusual affection for the place as a child, joking that she must have been a unique kid. Hilo, looking a little sad, reveals that the area reminds her of a time when she was little and ran to her father, who was busy building a summoning circle in the garden. He was sweating and revealed to her that he was working hard to create it for her, affectionately calling her his little princess. Her father truly adored her, hugging her tightly, She told him that her brother, Rubum, said the circle was a gate to another world. Her father laughed at that, commenting that her brother was quite clever. This happiness didn't last long, as her mother fell gravely ill and passed away, followed by her brother Rubum fighting with their father and leaving the palace. Hilo was left there all alone. Returning to the present, Ilo explains that the garden is planted in a volcanic region, which is a futile effort, but a desert is much more suitable for it, as she continues explaining. She notices how quiet it has become, as she watches him trying something with his magic on the portal. It irritates her that he isn't paying attention to her while she's talking. However, Noah reveals he's curious about the magic circle she mentioned. He explains that he's going to show her something and, with that, uses his wind power, sending a strong gust toward the portal and breaking through, blowing dust off the entire circle. Coughing, Ilo calls it a weak skill, although she notes that the circle is cleaner than ever. Looking at the newly cleaned circle, Ilo mentions that it's where she and Garrosh first met. As she says this, she suddenly remembers the summoning scroll that Noah won in his previous victory. A smile appears on her face as she suggests he try using the scroll on the circle. That night, Noah is feeling embarrassed about something that happened earlier in the day. He thought things were going well and that he was looking pretty cool, but then something happened that made him feel really stupid. What actually happened was when Ilo suggested that Noah use the summoning scroll. He's caught off guard and doesn't know how to use it, and Ilo finds him frustrating, especially since he's at a summoning joint and, according to her, if he could use it, it would be a huge advantage for them. Hesitantly, Noah agrees and asks if they should inform the others before using it. Ilo, not caring what the others think and considering herself the leader, tells him to go ahead, since the others might not be able to do it. Noah agrees with her, even though it all feels sudden and unexpected. Ilo, however, still doesn't seem to care and insists that he pull out the scroll. Noah is carrying the summoning scroll, but when he reaches into his pocket, it takes him longer than expected to find it. To Ilo's shock, when he pulls it out, the scroll is crumpled and in bad shape. Ilo yells at him for having crumpled the scroll like that, frustrated with the scroll's condition. Noah defends himself, explaining that it was too big to fit anywhere else, which only irritates Ilo even more. Annoyed, she urges Noah to summon properly and asks if he remembers the summoning magic from class. As she says this, Noah is already beginning the process of using the summoning magic. The scroll begins to glow brightly, while Ilo encourages him to keep going. Noah, determined, focuses more intensely, hoping to complete the summon as he channels the magic. He feels a surge of energy pass through him as the scroll begins to levitate between his hands. For a brief moment, it seems like the magic is working, but just as Noah begins to feel a sense of accomplishment, the scroll suddenly smacks him in the face, leaving him confused. But she finds it hilarious that he failed like that. Noah, seeing her laugh, feels embarrassed, and reminds her that she probably didn't succeed on her first try either. Hilo, wiping away tears from laughing so hard, admits that Noah is right. She had to try over and over again. She failed countless times, but she never gave up and eventually, she succeeded. Even though it happened a long time ago, Hilo said she never looked as silly as Noah did in that moment. She then throws some motivational words his way, encouraging him to try harder. When night falls, Noah lies in bed, embarrassed by his failure. He regrets even trying in the first place, but then he pauses, realizing that at least Hilo seemed cheered up after his attempt. The next day, the healer comes for a follow-up visit, but is surprised to see that Hilo isn't healing as he expected. According to him, at this rate, she might need a week to heal completely. Upon hearing this, Hilo is in disbelief, since she has a tournament to attend, and it ends in a week. The healer reveals that he's tried everything. Worried about her health, Hilo soon realizes that if Noah can complete his summoning, they might have a chance at success. She realizes she can create a new strategy for their team with this. Meanwhile, her father is in his office, watching Noah from the window. Seeing Noah fail so stupidly, he wonders why Hilo even gave him a chance. According to him, Hilo has no time to waste on something like that useless trash. While he's lost in thought, Hilo knocks on the door and enters. She informs him that she's leaving, but her father doesn't even respond. Feeling sad, she turns and leaves the room, thinking that she's doing the best she can. She just wants to make her family happy, which is why she's trying so hard. She even vows that she'll succeed at any cost. They get ready to leave in the carriage, but since it's a long journey, Noah decides to take a nap. While he naps, Hilo looks out the window, lost in her thoughts. It's a long road, a very long road back. Eventually, when they arrive at the academy, they are greeted by an excited Cut. She reveals to them that they won the tug-of-war match by using fire magic on the rope, but Mumu wasn't having any of it. She adds that the rope is made of a special material, so it doesn't burn. Upon hearing this, Hilo isn't as excited, since the tug-of-war competition doesn't grant them many points, and now they'll have to go all out in the next volleyball match. Cut, still savoring her victory, orders Mumu to lift her up so she can see the next opposing team. However, as he lifts her, she's shocked to see the opposing team on board. It's those guys from the first round, who overheard the conversation about the time issue and went to get the ball. Their team name is Rubies, with teammates Lulu, Vivi, Vitor, and the chubby Fabian. Noah doesn't see anything special about them, and asks what the deal is with them. Meanwhile, in the classroom, the Rubies team is waiting for Fabian, who is late. When he comes in, the girls are furious with him for being late, while Vitor seems like a pretty chill guy and offers him a seat. When Fabian sits down, Vitor, placing a scary figure he made in front of them, starts the discussion. Vitor, a water elementalist and the group's leader, reveals to everyone that they've had a pretty smooth run until the third round, but now they're facing some very strong opponents. He makes figures for each of them, explaining their powers. Vivi reveals that the summoner from Noah's group was injured during the treasure hunt, so she might be absent. Vivi herself is a dark elementalist, and since she can't contribute much, Lulu, the light elementalist, also dismisses her as a non-threat. Vivi knows that Noah is quite strong with wind magic, so, according to her, they can easily defeat him together. Vitor also discards his figure, since that's already taken care of, but now Mumu remains. They know they're going to need a monster, summoned to deal with him without risking their lives. Everyone agrees on this, while Lulu tells Fabian that since he's a summoner, he should handle Mumu. They call him a half-summoner, which is his nickname at the academy. His mother, an elven noblewoman, brought him to the academy and handed him over to the principal, asking him to take good care of him. She knew he had a talent for summoning, and wanted the principal to give him time to prove himself. The principal happily agreed, but because of his mother's overprotectiveness, he was a late bloomer. However, that didn't mean he wasn't a threat. In fact, he was quite strong. When Lulu asks him to take care of Mumu, he slams his fist on his figure, his face twisting with malicious confidence as he reveals he'll take care of Galagam. Now, the tournament begins, and the volleyball court is ready for the game. Noah arrives, feeling a mix of nervousness and confidence. As they head to the court, Aaron looks at them with arrogance. Cut is also a bit worried, apprehensive about the opposing team, with each member having special individual abilities. She asks Noah if he remembers what she told him, to which he confidently replies that it's just about getting the ball to the other side. Mumu also remembers the rules, while Ilos recalls the point system, which is the usual volleyball format. Noah, manipulating the ball with his wind spell, remembers that they can also use magic on the ball, and if they don't touch them, it doesn't count as contact. Kuti lets out a sigh of relief, knowing that they understand the rules, and warns them that the match could easily turn into a full-on magic brawl, then remembers Hilo's arm and asks about it. But Hilo isn't sure if she can use magic or not. Noah, hearing this, is confident they can win without her summoning magic. Noah's team takes their position on one side of the net, while the Rubies take their place on the opposite side. Vitor greets them calmly, to which Noah warns tauntingly not to hate them after they lose. As both teams get ready, the referee announces the start of the match. The ball starts with Vitor's side and he tosses it up, serving it with a massive strike. As the ball comes at them with full force, Noah braces himself, realizing they're going all out. Seeing Noah channel wind magic, the Ruby girls know what they need to do. So, Vivi channels her dark spell and aims it at Noah. He barely manages to dodge, shocked that they went that far. But as he's processing this, the ball smacks him in the face, knocking him to the ground. He's stunned, completely blinded by the impact. The match is intense. While Noah is on the ground, wondering what the hell just happened, Kuti, worried about him, asks what's wrong, to which he explains that he was blinded. Hilo, hearing this, realizes it's because of the Ruby girls using their magic. Kuti quickly understands too, and Vivi, amazed that they figured it out so quickly, is confident there's nothing they can do about it. It's time for the next play, and Vitor tosses the ball into the air, sending it towards them with all his might. This time, Mumu dives to return it, but he's also targeted by the dark, blinding magic. However, instead of missing, he manages to stop the ball and send it back, thanks to Noah using his wind magic to counteract the girls' dark magic attack. Seeing that both of them were in shock, Kuti rushes to return the ball and sets it for Noah. With his eyes glowing green, he confidently jumps into the air. As he's about to spike the ball, he's hit again by a blinding flash of light. The flash is so intense that it blinds him, causing him to miss the ball and fall to the ground. The girls, who manage to attack again, mock him, saying they're not done yet and still have more tricks up their sleeves. Things are getting serious for our boy Noah, as the magic keeps causing them to miss most of their hits, with the score quickly racking up in the Ruby's favor, serve after serve. After a while, the referee blows the whistle, announcing the end of the first set. Hilo, furious with their opponents for using magic, yells at them to play fair. Vitor, with his charming smile, thinks they aren't doing anything wrong, since the combined strength of Noah's team is greater than theirs. However, he's confident that they can defeat them with hard work. This comment only enrages Noah's team even more, and to add fuel to the fire, Victor adds that they should try harder and summon monsters since it's getting boring. Pushing Hilo to the limit, she tries to summon her power, but fails due to her broken arm, as she can't use her magic. Victor, a little worried, smiles at Fabian as Hilo fails. Hilo, unable to summon her magic, warns that she's already figured them out and won't fall for their traps anymore. Her anger worries everyone, even her own teammates. She is determined to make them lose. Now, the referee announces the start of the next set, and as he does, a wicked smile spreads across Hilo's face. She yells with all her might for Noah to use his magic attack and restrain the Ruby girls with it. Noah, however, hesitates, but she yells at him to just distract them with his magic. Hilo, out of nowhere, shows her rage fueled by their close friendship. Noah, channeling her spell, warns Hilo that it might not last more than 5 minutes using mana. Thus, throwing the ball into the air, she reveals that 5 minutes will be enough. He hits the ball hard towards the opponents, and Fabian moves forward to hit it back. In the air, he passes it to Victor, who confidently jumps to return it, but his confidence wavers upon noticing the imposing Mumu blocking his path. As he spikes the ball, Mumu casually parries it, extending his hands in the air. Victor is caught off guard by this, so he yells to his teammates that they should restrain him. However, when he looks, he sees that both of them are struggling against the wind magic attack on them. This worries him, while Noah is just using 2 fingers to stop them, but he feels like he's cheating. The girls are struggling in front of him, while he is having immense fun, mocking them to give up, saying their tricks don't work anymore. However, Fabian still has his summoning trick up his sleeve. In a serious tone, he slides his book out and starts using summoning magic. Mumu, upon seeing this, is gobsmacked with shock. Fabian manages to summon a boar monster huge with a wild mane. He yells at the top of his lungs that he's going to bring the real fight now. The boar starts to charge towards them and, as Noah watches it approach, he is shocked to realize they have a summoner. The boar charges at full speed, while Noah channels his wind energy into his hands and fires it towards the boar with all his might. As the beam shoots forward, Noah yells at Cut, demanding to know why she didn't mention that they have a summoner. Cut quickly clarifies that this particular individual is a special case and has never summoned anything before. Just as the wind blast is about to hit the boar, it leaps off the ground, launching itself toward Noah. Our boy barely manages to dodge, getting out of the way, and the boar crashes into the wall behind him. Noah is left shaking, wondering if something like that is even allowed in the match. Meanwhile, Hilo's mind is racing, realizing that they're about to lose unless they stop the monster. Noah notices Hilo's distress and, with a calm yet confident expression, states that he'll handle the situation himself. After all, he's the great problem solver. Mumu steps forward, declaring he'll take down the monster. His declaration shocks everyone, since he's usually afraid of fighting. Concerned, Mumu explains that humans have weaker bodies, but he can at least help by facing the monster. Noah agrees, deciding he'll handle Fabian while Mumu takes on the boar. Cut, determined to score, chooses to focus on the ball while the boys handle the rest. However, as they make their decision, Vitor smirks and asks if they're ready to start. Hilo, his usual intense anger on full display, confirms. With that, Vitor throws the ball again, sending it toward Hilo. She stops it and passes to Cut, who quickly sends it back deep. Fabian is busy controlling the summoned boar. Distracted by his concentration, he heard his name being called. When Fabian looks up, he's shocked to see Noah poised and ready to strike. As Noah casts his spell, he reveals to Fabian that, to defeat a summon, they first need to take down the summoner. While Noah is talking, Mumu is holding the boar like it's a mere 2-year-old child. Noah's arrogance only fuels Fabian's rage, and with a furious shout, Fabian declares he will reveal hidden powers that he's never shown anyone before. As he screams, the boar's eyes begin to spark and it breaks free from Mumu's grasp. It charges directly toward Noah, who is in the middle of channeling his spell. Noah quickly turns and barely dodges the boar's attack. But as he does, he notices something unsettling. The boar isn't actually attacking him. The boar charges straight toward Fabian and launching him high into the air. Everyone is stunned to see a summoner's creature attack him in such a way. Meanwhile, Fabian is in midair, blood spraying around him as he's slammed back to the ground with brutal force. Cut realizes she was right all along. Fabian is the half-summon. With Fabian down, the monster is left without a master, growling menacingly. As a result, the referees decide to call the match due to the chaos. It might have been a cheap way to win, but Noah's team manages to secure the victory nonetheless. Watching from the sidelines, Aaron isn't impressed with what happened. Aaron even tells his father everything, revealing that the match was painful to watch and that there are no summoners in the academy who can match his level. The principal smiles, casually revealing to Aaron that Noah can summon a monster at any time. Aaron becomes furious, realizing that his father made Noah find the treasure on purpose, so he could get his hands on the scroll. The principal, while sipping his tea, confirms this, leaving Aaron with a mix of anger and betrayal. He can't help but feel emotional, as the principal's treatment of Noah seems much more favorable than his own. Seeing his son's discomfort, the principal reassures Aaron, saying he saved something special just for him, so he shouldn't be upset. With a calm smile, he adds that he prepared something extra, just for him, showing his unwavering confidence in his plans. The next morning, the sun is shining brightly over the academy. Aaron, still feeling a bit tired, gets out of bed and looks out the window. His eyes then land on his clothes, neatly laid out on the table. After quickly putting them on, he goes out and greets his teammates. His teammate, excited to see him, leads him to the breakfast hall, but Aaron can't shake the worry that's been bugging him about what happened last night. He keeps wondering what his father meant by something special. Last night, when the principal mentioned it, Aaron asked about it, and the principal revealed the relic. It's the same relic he has been using for experiments, although Aaron didn't know that. The principal asks Aaron to try channeling his mana into it. Despite his nervousness, Aaron agrees, though he can't shake a feeling of unease. As he begins to channel his mana into the relic, he feels something strange. It's as if his blood is being sucked into the sphere, his whole body being pulled towards it. Aaron feels his entire body being pulled, his flesh seemingly sucked into the air, making him feel as if the experience was real. Trembling on the floor, he looks at his father and asks what's happening. The principal, smiling, asks if he likes it and suggests that Aaron use it to prove his skills. Meanwhile, Aaron, still in shock and breathing heavily, can't shake the image of what just happened. The next day, Aaron's team is about to face Noah's team in the tournament. While his teammates trade taunts, Aaron remains distracted, still lost in thought about the strange event. Noah, without missing a beat, retorts with a taunt of his own, calling one of them Andrew Tate's left ear, which hits a nerve. As the taunts continue, the referee blows the whistle, signaling the start of the match, and throws the ball with a resounding bang. But as it speeds towards one of the bald players on the team, his opponent, he remains motionless, unable to react. Suddenly, the bald player blends in with his three teammates, all nearly identical. They start hitting the ball randomly, making it hard to tell who is touching it or if someone has touched it twice. Guti finds this both disgusting and confusing. The bald trio sends the ball back towards Mumu with a powerful strike, leaving him a little nervous. However, Teddy Mumu simply puts his hands in front of it and blocks the shot effortlessly. The bald trio is impressed that he stopped their combined effort. Noah is amazed by Mumu's reliability, but Ilo quickly reminds him to stay focused on Aaron and stop him if he dares to summon. Noah, confident that he will not let the opponent summon this time, he prepares to use his wind spell. Meanwhile, Aaron just stands there, staring at his chest, still lost in thought. He cannot get the events of the previous night out of his mind. When Aaron holds the relic, it reveals its power to him. His father explains that it is his Krino, a relic he has been studying for a long time. The headmaster suggests that Aaron use it instead of his summoning book next time, as it will summon a monster more powerful than ever before. Aaron, feeling nervous, avoids asking why his father is not using the so-called relic himself. Looking at the relic, Aaron realizes he has no choice but to follow his father's orders. Meanwhile, Noah asks Mumu to launch him as Aaron summons his creature, Kyle. When Kyle's imposing figure appears before him, Noah is in shock. At the same time, Ilo yells at Aaron, asking why he did not stop summoning. "My man has a job to do." Noah points out that Aaron just summoned his monster without using the book. Ilo does not care, trying to explain herself, and asks if anyone saw Aaron use his book. Suddenly, he realizes that something is strange with Aaron, just as Ilo is scolding him for slacking off, while continuing to talk smack about Noah. She looks back and is shocked to see Aaron. He is emitting a strange red glow with veins popping all over his body and his eyes rolled back. Something is seriously wrong with him. Aaron, known throughout the academy as the headmaster's son, was actually someone else's child. When he was just a child, Aaron was sold to the headmaster by a priest who charged a huge price for him. However, this did not mean he lost out on anything. In fact, he considered himself lucky because no one dared to mess with him, assuming he was the headmaster's son. This status made him arrogant and rude to whomever he wanted, but it also fueled his ambition. This ambition led him to use the relic, seeking a power that cannot be achieved naturally. Back in the game, Noah's team is shocked to see Eren in that state. Meanwhile, Eren's summon, Kyle, launches water grenades toward them. Noah reacts quickly, using his wind spell to create a shield, protecting his team from the projectiles coming their way. As the grenades explode all over the field, dust fills the air, but Noah and his team are protected by his shield. Kyle follows up his attack with a cannon shot, sending a powerful beam directly at them. Noah's team barely manages to dodge, as a teammate screams that the beam could easily melt them. Wherever the beam hits, it melts everything in its path. Mumu, worried about everyone's safety, offers to handle the monster, just like he did before. Knowing that running is useless, Noah tries to stop him, warning him that this time, the monster is very different from the pig Mumu faced before. Meanwhile, Eren is in a strange state, emitting an overwhelming energy around him. Hilo, equally worried about the situation, asks the referee to do something about it. The referee, clearly nervous, turns and looks at the principal in the stands. The principal is just staring at him, and when he sees that the referee doesn't intervene and allows the match to continue, the tension in the air becomes almost unbearable. Noah and his team are so caught up in the chaos that they can't even tell where the ball is at that moment, as they process everything. Kyle fires another cannon shot, which Noah narrowly avoids by dodging, feeling the weight of the situation. Noah decides it's time to get serious. He launches a wave of wind toward Kyle, hitting him directly. To everyone's shock, the attack leaves nothing more than a scratch. Noah can't believe that the monster is that strong. Hilo, watching from the sidelines, becomes even more worried about him. She knows that Noah has lost to Kyle before, but now the monster seems even stronger. It's clear there's no chance of winning this fight. In her mind, Hilo knows she's the only one who can do something about the situation. She clutches her broken arm, applying pressure, and to her shock, it actually works. Meanwhile, Noah is dodging cannon shots, one after another, from Kyle. Suddenly, Hilo yells for him to get out of the way, revealing she managed to summon Groot. Noah, noticing her success, is thrilled, happy that she succeeded. Hilo, now confident, and orders everyone to leave everything to her and her monster. She orders Groot to attack. The beast charges at Eren's monster, but it intercepts with a powerful right hook, sending Groot flying. He crashes into the wall, and the entire crowd is stunned. For the first time, Eren has defeated Hilo, something that had never happened before. Hilo is in disbelief, unable to comprehend how her Groot was defeated so easily. Ko, now even more ferocious, loads his cannon again and aims it directly at Hilo. Frozen in shock, Hilo can only watch as Ko unleashes the powerful beam. Noah, noticing the imminent danger, jumps in front of Hilo to protect her. The beam hits, erupting in a massive explosion. When the dust settles, a strange, shadowy monster stands before Hilo and Noah. Its menacing presence sends chills through the arena. The dark energy monster just saved them from certain death. And both Hilo and Noah are in shock, unable to comprehend what just happened. The monster then turns to Ko and, with a single blow, defeats him easily. It's the headmaster's summon, and having seen enough, he intervenes to stop the fight. Meanwhile, Eren, still in his strange state, is kneeling on the ground, struggling to stay conscious. He staggers, unable to keep his balance, and eventually collapses, falling face first onto the ground. The headmaster, his presence commanding everyone's attention, turns to announce that the tournament is now suspended until further notice, with another announcement to be made. Noah's team remains silent, stunned, worried, and confused by what just happened. Since it's the headmaster's decision, they have no choice but to accept it. Back at the boys' dorm at the academy, Noah and Mumu enter their room, both visibly exhausted. It was a rough day, made even stranger by Eren's outburst. Mumu, equally perplexed, wonders aloud why that happened. But Noah is just as clueless, having never witnessed anything like it before. Noah knows they're lucky, not because they weren't injured, but because they have a chance to win by default. According to him, if they keep winning like this, they could end up in first place. As he speaks, he idly spins a book on his finger, but suddenly a page slips out and falls onto his lap. Noah's eyes widen in shock as he realizes it's the same letter that offered him 40,000 gold coins in exchange for spying on Hilo. Noah is confused about how the letter ended up in the book, but then he has a sudden realization that it's the letter he forgot to answer. It's worth 40,000 in gold, and he hopes with all his heart it's not too late to reply. He quickly grabs a pen and starts looking for paper. Seeing Mumu still awake, he tells him to go to sleep, not wanting anyone to know about the letter. Noah sits down and begins to write his response, but he's not sure where to begin. So many things have happened since he got the letter, and he wonders if he should start with Elo breaking her arm, since that event kicked everything off. But as his thoughts wander, he gets more and more hung up on the moment he jumped in front of Ilo to save her. All these overwhelming thoughts cloud his mind, and Noah realizes he needs a break. He decides to go out for some fresh air, hoping it will clear his head. While he's out for a walk, he's surprised to see Ilo there. He's clearly shocked as he asks why she's out at this hour. She replies that she just needs some fresh air. With her usual annoyed expression, she then tries to ask him about the moment he jumped in front of her during the fight, but as she processes the situation, her expression softens, turning into one of unexpected gratitude. She thanks him for saving her life. Noah is taken aback by the sudden change in her demeanor. Stammering, he awkwardly replies that it's no big deal. He now feels a bit nervous, realizing there's a growing tension between them, a mix of feelings that neither of them has fully acknowledged yet. As night falls, Noah returns to his room, still processing the encounter. He once again tries to write the reply letter, but his mind keeps drifting back to the day's events and the connection he just shared with Ilo. However, Noah crumples the letter in frustration. He now considers Elo a friend, and it doesn't feel right to go through with the request as he struggles with his thoughts. Mumu is comfortable in his pajamas, snuggled in his bed, oblivious to Noah's internal battle. After a moment of contemplation, Noah makes a decision. He decides to write the letter, but this time he rejects the request. He mentions that he will return the advance payment of 10,000 gold pieces and, curious about the situation, asks for the client's name before sending it. Meanwhile, in the floating kingdom, Reuben is in his office, surrounded by piles of books. His exhausted assistant is dozing off on the floor. Realizing something important, Reuben informs her that he'll have to leave for a while. Startled, she asks where he's going. With a letter in hand, Reuben holds it out to her, revealing his destination. He is going to the Reca Academy of Estodian. The next day at the academy, everyone is buzzing about what happened at the volleyball game the previous night. As the class settles down, the supervisor arrives and orders everyone to be seated. She then announces that due to the incident at the tournament event, the tournament is cancelled for the year. Hearing this, the entire class is in disbelief, thinking it's not fair. The supervisor explains that the prizes will be awarded based on everyone's scores up to the last day. Upon hearing this, Cootie starts calculating her points in her head, like a human calculator. Meanwhile, Aaron's friends, the Baldies, are worried and ask about Aaron's condition. The supervisor reveals that he is recovering from his injuries, which makes the trio even more concerned for their leader. However, the supervisor admits that she also doesn't know much more about his condition. In her thoughts, she recalls meeting with the principal. When asked about Aaron, his injuries were severe and he might need some time to recover. The supervisor also expressed her concern about Aaron having access to such a dangerous relic, to which the director revealed that Aaron was unconscious, and the concerned supervisor agreed. But the director, with a fierce look, took full responsibility for what happened. This makes the supervisor even more nervous, snapping her out of her thoughts and back to the present. Taking a deep breath, she informs the class about the final exams that are about to begin. The announcement is met with various reactions from the students, who are still disgruntled about the tournament's cancellation, and meanwhile, Hilo is laughing to herself as she listens to everyone complaining. On the other hand, our boy is starting to catch some feelings for Hilo. In the basement, screaming in a panic, Aaron is shocked by the dark and creepy place he's in. Aaron asks what's going on, and the director sternly reminds him that he nearly killed his opponent during the last volleyball match, and this revelation leaves Aaron incredibly nervous and worried, as he starts to wonder if he really took Noah's life. However, the director lies, telling Aaron that Noah's life doesn't matter. Instead, he claims that the real problem is that Aaron killed Ilo, the noble daughter of Lord Sigrun. The director elaborates on the immense influence of the Sigrun family, and how killing their only daughter is no small matter. Trying to manipulate Aaron further, the director lies again, saying he kept him in the basement to protect him. Aaron is shocked, having just woken up, and the director also reveals that he's protecting the relic, saying he's leaving Aaron alone in the basement, leaving him in a state of shock and disbelief. Eventually, Aaron falls asleep and starts to dream about the church where he was sold during his childhood. In his dream, he's in front of the church when a little girl calls out to him. She asks if Aaron is afraid to return to the place he left behind. Aaron is visibly nervous and speechless when another child appears and asks if he feels any guilt. The child claims that since Aaron is destined to become a soldier on the battlefield, he'll inevitably end up killing someone, so maybe it's acceptable. As Aaron becomes more worried, more children appear, haunting him with reminders of his guilt. They insist it's his decision and that he needs to accept it, and mentally overwhelmed, Aaron screams, declaring he didn't kill anyone. Suddenly, a strange noise rises from behind. A nauseating sound of blood pooling and churning. The mass of blood begins to take a humanoid form and speaks in a chilling tone, asking Aaron to tell it what he wants to hear. Aaron lets out a sharp scream that echoed through the darkness. Meanwhile, in Mumu's garden, Noah and his group are savoring some burgers, munching away. Hilo suddenly stops, sensing that something is wrong. At first, everyone thinks she's talking about the burgers, until she reveals her real concern, that they haven't received any explanation about what happened to Aaron during the volleyball game. According to her, a lot of strange things have been happening at the academy lately, and this incident is one of the most intriguing. Noah agrees with Hilo, admitting that there's definitely something suspicious about the academy from the very beginning. However, since he's never attended an academy before, he just assumes they're all like this. Hilo finds his lack of interest weird, but continues to voice her suspicions about the academy denying any involvement with the monster they faced. Cut chimes in, confirming they were reprimanded for even mentioning the topic. This revelation makes Hilo angry at Cut for giving up so easily. While Noah's mind drifts off somewhere else, he can't figure out who would make such a strange request to him or why, despite his curiosity. He hesitates to ask Hilo about it, knowing she's always angry. So, Noah decides to handle it himself, determined to solve the mystery on his own. To take control of the situation, Noah decides to leave the academy. Reminding himself that he's a great problem solver, he returns to the bar where he originally received the first request. There, he finds the Andrew Tate-looking bartender, who is visibly shocked to see him. The bartender, however, is slightly annoyed, giving Noah a lecture for not visiting him even once, since enrolling at Reca Academy. Noah deflects with a half-baked lie about being too busy and quickly changes the subject to the matter at hand. He explains everything to the bald guy, sharing his suspicions that whoever made the spying request might also be the one who sent the wolf teddy bear to Hilo. According to Noah, it has to be someone close to Hilo who made these requests, but he can't understand why anyone would do such a thing. As he spills his thoughts, the bald bartender stays focused on cleaning his glasses. Frustrated, Noah asks if he's even listening. Calmly, the bartender sets the glass aside and then, out of nowhere, gives Noah a hard slap, clearly annoyed. He scolds Noah for coming back after so long just to start making demands. Noah feels the sting on his head, but keeps his composure. The bartender sternly reminds him that revealing client details would be a betrayal of trust. Noah finds him stubbornly annoying, but an idea pops into his head. He has a plan B, which is to steal the bartender's record book, just as he's forming the plan in his mind. Another punch lands on his head, snapping him out of his thoughts. Noah winces in pain, confused about the reason for the second hit. Meanwhile, the bald bartender did it to snap Noah out of his reckless behavior. He sternly warns Noah not to let his misplaced sense of justice get the better of him. Grunting from the pain in his head, Noah reluctantly agrees to let it go and leave. As he walks away, the bartender casually calls out, asking Noah to bring back a souvenir next time. Noah immediately refuses, stating he has no plans to return. He doesn't like being treated like that, but the bartender, with a confident smile, mutters to himself that Noah will eventually come to his senses, and everything will work out for him in the end. On his way back, Noah realizes he's late as night falls. Rushing towards the academy, he panics when he sees it's already past curfew. Upon reaching the academy gates, he's shocked to find them closed, considering hopping the wall as he's done before. His attention is drawn to a visitor standing at the gate. It seems unusual for someone to visit the academy so late, as Noah tries to get a closer look at who it is. A guard catches him. The guard grabs him by the ear and drags him towards the gate, where the late-night visitor is also waiting to get in. The gate guard sternly asks Noah if he has permission to be off campus. In response, Noah quickly pulls a permission pass from his pocket to prove he's authorized to leave. The guard examines the pass and reads Noah's name aloud. Upon hearing it, the visitor becomes visibly anxious and demands immediate entry. Noah, surprised by the urgency in the visitor's voice, watches curiously as the guard opens the gate. As the visitor enters, Noah can't shake the feeling that he's seen this person before. He stares intently, trying to jog his memory. The guard notices Noah's behavior and finds it strange. With a sigh, the guard tells him to stop staring at the guy. Apparently, he's a visitor from the Studum Royal Academy. Despite this revelation, Noah remains confused, certain he's met the man somewhere before. The visitor is Relbin, whom we met earlier, now intentionally disguised to go unnoticed. He has silky hair, which he's very proud of, but there was no other way to hide his identity. As a researcher at an international institution responsible for handling forbidden relics, he's here for an investigation. Upon entering the academy, Relbin is greeted by the supervisor, who is enthusiastic about showing him around. She is visibly surprised that someone from the prestigious Royal Academy has come to visit. Noticing her excitement, Rilban apologizes for the inconvenience of arriving unannounced. However, the supervisor enthusiastically dismisses his concern. Assuring him that it's no problem at all and expressing how delighted she is to meet him, she is a little shocked, because she thinks that researchers' interests usually focus more on military matters, so seeing him in an educational institution is really surprising. Upon hearing the supervisor's knowledge on the matter, Ruben begins to worry. To him, it now seems that playing a role there could be difficult, since he doesn't know much about education. The truth is, he has a personal reason for coming, as he is looking for someone. However, the supervisor starts to become a bit suspicious regarding his interest in the students. Nervous, Ruben tries to smooth things over, saying that it simply reminds him of when he was their age. Although the supervisor seems to accept his explanation, Ruben remains uneasy, fearing he has aroused her suspicion. As the supervisor dismisses her suspicions, she excitedly requests that Ruben conduct a special lecture for the students. Upon hearing this, Ruben lets out a sigh of relief, happy that she hasn't discovered his true intentions. However, he knows that now he needs to be careful. Realizing this, he lies, claiming that he is not a good speaker. In a suspicious tone, the supervisor asks if he is one of those researchers who only cares about work. The reluctant Ruben agrees, which leaves her even more impressed. She then asks that he be a role model for the students. Ruben realizes that she is incredibly enthusiastic and, if this continues, his plans will be ruined. In the classroom, the Bucket Trio is scribbling something on the whiteboard. They seem really worried, and, when they finish, it's a get-well message for Aaron, along with a drawing. Meanwhile, in the background, Noe is still worried about the client who requested the spy job. While sitting next to Ilo, he leans over and asks if she knows someone who knows her well and also distrusts her. This question confuses her, so Noe speculates that it could be her butler, who might be after her inheritance or possibly a brother. Ilo denies both, saying her butler is a sweetheart and that she has no siblings. However, when she mentions not having siblings, she pauses for a moment. Suddenly, she gets up from her seat, shouting that they will have to go back to the forest where they saw that zombie monster. She points to Mumu and Kuti, signaling for them to get ready, but both of them start making excuses, terrified of going back. While the conversation continues, the supervisor enters the room with Ruben following her. She announces him as a special guest for the class, revealing that she invited a speaker from the Royal Academy of Stjoden. Ruben greets everyone, embarrassed, while Ilo, upon seeing him, is shocked beyond belief. Upon recognizing him, she realizes he is her brother, the same Ruben who left after a fight with their father. As Ruben speaks to the class, he also spots who he came looking for. His full name is Ruben Hanna Sigrand, and he's here to find his little sister. But what happened that made him leave the Sigrand Palace? One night, when Ruben's father announced that he was willing to go to war, Ruben was furious. He was outraged that his mother was away and Hilo was still so young. But his father planned to go to a war that wasn't even in their country. His father yelled at him, saying he didn't need Ruben's approval. He roared that as the head of the family, he made the decisions, and everyone simply had to follow them. This shattered Ruben on the inside and disheartened him. He decides to leave the palace forever. Hilo, seeing him leave, runs to him to stop him, even though it's raining torrentially. However, despite her pleas, he had already made up his mind. He said that he and his father don't agree on anything, so it was better for him to leave. Now that he's back, Hilo is shocked that Ruben left years ago, so what could be the reason for his return? While the class continues, Aaron remains locked in the basement, unconscious, with the relic still by his side. Slowly, he begins to stir, only to hallucinate that Hilo is sitting before him, staring with an intensely unsettling gaze. Her eyes are filled with a terrifying energy, pinning him in place. Meanwhile, in the classroom, Ruben explains the fundamental rules about ancient relics. He emphasizes that for every positive, there is always a -1. Essentially, if someone uses a relic to gain something, they must inevitably lose something in return. To illustrate this, he gives an example. Someone might gain immense power through the relic, but in return their life is gradually drained away while the students listen intently. Hilo sits, trembling with rage, visibly disturbed by the lecture. Ruben continues, explaining that those who use relics often find themselves trapped in an agonizing, immortal state. The more powerful the artifact, the more severe the suffering. As Ruben continues his explanation, the same terrifying experience is unfolding in the basement with Aaron. In his delirium, Aaron hallucinates that Hilo is sitting in front of him. She leans in, pressing closer, and asks if he's surprised to see her there. She claims that he has feelings for her, but hearing this makes Aaron feel sick. Hilo's demeanor changes as she pressures him further, asking again if he likes her. Suddenly, her form transforms into a mask grotesque and blood-soaked, which lunges directly towards Aaron. The mass splatters against the wall behind him, with its twisted and contorted faces mocking him, each one whispering creepily, asking Aaron if he wants to see. The grotesque horror seems to consume Aaron from the inside out, as he struggles to escape the madness. The figure haunts him relentlessly, pushing him further into the depths of his fear, taunting him with the promise of revealing its true form. The relic mercilessly pushes Aaron, trying to force him to awaken it. Aaron, barely holding on, clutches his head and screams for it to leave him alone. He's visibly exhausted, his energy drained, as the relic lies on the floor right in front of him. It's the relic itself that's causing all this torment, its dark power trying to manipulate him into using it. Meanwhile, in the classroom, Rubem shifts the focus to the dangers of summoning magic. He acknowledges that many of the students present are summoners, but he warns them about the unknowns surrounding their powers. He emphasizes that no one really knows where these summoned monsters come from or what worlds the magic connects them to. Rubem then speculates that summoning magic might even be a form of blessing bestowed upon them by an unknown force. Rubem leaves everyone on edge, warning that they may not fully comprehend what summoning magic is truly capable of or what secrets it might be hiding. The entire class falls silent, absorbing the weight of his words. With that, Rubem concludes the lecture. Cut is clearly impressed by his vast knowledge, while Mumu also offers his praise. Meanwhile, Noah feels a new wave of excitement for summoning magic, seeing it as a secret, untapped power. He excitedly praises Hilo for her strength, but to his surprise, she gets up and leaves without a word. Noah just watches her walk out of the classroom, wondering what caused her sudden departure. As Rubem strolls down the hallway, he's suddenly grabbed and pulled into a room. His disguise falls away, and he finds himself face to face with Hilo. She's visibly furious, seething, as she demands to know what he's doing there. Rubem looks at her with his frozen expression. Hilo, growing more irritated, grabs him by the neck, lifting him off the ground. She demands that he reveal everything, asking if he still considers her his sister. As she's yelling at him, Noah, our very own 007, overhears their conversation. He freezes in shock as he realizes the truth. Noah is now in a sticky situation. All he did was follow Hilo, thinking she was a friend who was just upset, but now he's found out that Rubem is her brother. The revelation hits him hard, and he struggles to process it all. To make things even more confusing, he can't understand why Hilo beat up Rubem. After laying down the smackdown, Hilo demands to know why Rubem is there. Rubem gets up, clears his throat, and finally reveals the truth. He's there to get her. Hilo, still confused, is on the brink of a war. He reveals that the last war didn't take place within their borders, but what's coming is different, and Hilo asks how he knows all this. Rubem's answer surprises her, as he reveals that Sedona herself is planning to start the war. Thousands of soldiers have already been sent to defend the borders of Stygian, with all the noble families volunteering their members to fight. Rubem speculates that the Sigram family must have received the decree too. Elo's father was even visited by one of the king's royal knights, and the maids and butlers of Sigrin bowed in respect. The knight apologized for the unannounced visit, pulled out a scroll and read it aloud. The decree, issued by the king, announced that the head of the Sigrin family will go to the borders to prepare for war. Being a royal order, there was nothing her father could do. Hearing this, Ilo feels disheartened. She knows that her father spoke out against the war in the king's presence. According to her, he chose to voice his opposition, even if it risked his reputation and subjected the Sigrin name to ridicule. Rubem denies it, arguing that their father also participated in the last war when he didn't have to. He doesn't believe their father could change so easily. However, Ilo, confident in her belief, yells back, insisting that he can change. She thinks their father is full of regret, even if he won't admit it. Rubem, enraged, retorts, calling their father a coward for running away. According to him, their father is using the war as an excuse to abandon them because he can't handle their mother's death. Upon hearing this, Ilo slams her fist into the wall with all her might, stunning Rubem for a moment. She reminds him that's exactly what he did, abandoning her and running away. Rubem, stunned by her words, falls silent, realizing the truth in her accusation. He's shocked by her strength and reluctantly accepts his own actions. Meanwhile, Noah is watching the whole scene through the keyhole. Suddenly, he realizes Rubem is heading towards the door, making him panic and hide behind it. Ilo then slams the door and runs out of the academy. Noah is surprised to see tears in her eyes as he watches her leave. Rubem notices him and calls out. He refers to Noah as a fixer, implying he has business with him, as Ilo hurries away. The rain has stopped, but she seems disheartened by what Hilbert said. He wants her to leave the state before the war starts, and, for that reason, he's staying at the academy to give her time to consider his offer. Ilo, however, remains silent, lost in her thoughts. Back in the present, Ilo finds herself deep within the forest, thinking about the choice she has to make. Back at the academy, Ruben reveals to Noah that he was the one who asked him to spy on Ilo. Noah is in shock, asking why Hilbert made such a request. Hilbert, in turn, answers with a question, questioning why Noah refused his request and why he has been following Ilo since then. This question irritates Noah and, thumping his chest, he boldly states that it's his own choice. Hilbert finds this answer strange, and as Noah tries to explain, he mentions that it's due to a career crisis. He shyly admits that they're friends, but Hilben doesn't find it convincing. Noah is also curious about why Hilben asked him to spy on his own sister. Hilben shrugs and explains that he's just worried about her as a brother. Noah still doesn't find this explanation convincing, but instead of continuing to argue, he decides to leave. Hilben questions Noah about his sudden outburst, to which Noah furiously reveals that they should both be looking for Hilo, since they're both actually worried about her. Despite being a little surprised, Hilben agrees with him. Meanwhile, in the basement, Aaron is running towards an exit he spotted. He feels hopeful, motivating himself to push harder, as he's so close. However, just as he's about to reach it, everything around him starts to crumble. Suddenly, he falls to the ground, as bloody tentacles sprout from the earth, piercing his skin. Aaron lets out a shrill scream, but then he realizes he's unharmed, sitting in the basement in front of the relic. The relic did it again and is pushing him harder than ever to use its power. It transforms back into Hilo's form, revealing that it expected Aaron to give up by now, but he has surpassed its expectations. Exhausted, he grabs the relic and starts striking the massive metal door countless times with it. Hilo's form appears again, mocking him, stating that he can't escape like this. However, Aaron, filled with rage, swings the relic at the form with all his might. Meanwhile, deep in the jungle, Hilo is kicking a tree in frustration, consumed by the words her brother said. She keeps kicking, yelling about how she has friends at the academy, but now he wants her to leave with him. With all her might, she delivers one last powerful kick, unleashing her furious anger. Even if her father can defend himself, there's still the household staff to consider. As she wonders what she should do, she hears a rustle in the nearby bushes. As she looks, she sees Aaron holding his summoning book in his hand. Aaron looks at her and, for a moment, he thinks she's the same figure that has been pushing him to use the relic. Hilo is confused by all of this when, suddenly, Aaron unleashes a powerful blood splatter attack, sending it right at her. She barely manages to dodge, jumping to the side, but not without getting a deep cut on her arm. Furious, she runs towards Aaron to yell at him, but her anger quickly turns to fear as she realizes he's transformed into a monstrous form, emitting a strange red aura. She immediately realizes this is much worse than she had imagined. This time, Ko, who is normally armed with water cannons, advances, but instead of the usual, he unleashes a fierce blood cannon, powered by large cylinders of blood, and radiating a strong, menacing aura. Hilo, facing this, immediately realizes she's made a mistake. Ko raises his fist, and without giving her a moment to react, he attacks. She narrowly dodges, as her mind races, screaming in confusion, questioning why Aaron is attacking her and what's happening with his monstrous form. Aaron remains silent with his relentless monster, launching attack after attack, and Hilo struggles to dodge them all, barely keeping up with the onslaught. Suddenly, the monster raises its fist and extends it towards Hilo, catching her off guard when it's just inches away. She manages to summon her own monster, which intercepts the attack midway. Hilo yells for Aaron to stop, desperation in her voice, as it seems like he's trying to kill her. However, her words fall on deaf ears. Ko launches another attack with relentless aggression, while Aaron remains in the background, muttering incoherent words to himself. Hilo looks at him and wonders if he has completely lost his mind. She tries to snap him back to reality, shouting that the torment is over. But in Aaron's fragmented reality, Hilo isn't there for him. She is the figure from before, the one who taunts and torments him. Thinking this, he firmly grips the relic. He is consumed by guilt, convinced it's his fault that someone's life has ended. Hilo screams for him to stop, but he roars back, revealing in a frightening and inhuman tone that, to him, she is already dead. His words terrify her, but there's no time to dwell on them. Ko leaps into the air, aiming a devastating blow at Garocha. However, Hilo and her monster manage to dodge in time. Seizing the moment, Hilo orders Garocha to counterattack. The creature charges at Ko from behind, slamming his head into the ground with full force. The impact creates a brief opening, and Hilo dashes towards Aaron, determined to end this madness. But just as she's about to strike, Ko extends its massive hand and grabs her mid-dash, holding her tightly. Before she can react, Kaio delivers a crushing blow to Garocha, sending it crashing to the ground. Hilo's heart sinks as she realizes just how incredibly powerful the monster truly is. As Hilo struggles against her restraints, Eren approaches. The relic is clutched tightly in his trembling hands. She notices the strange glow, instantly realizing it's the source of this madness. Eren sits down in front of her, with an almost manic expression. In a trembling voice, he begs her to disappear, claiming he's tired of seeing her. All the while, Kaio prepares another devastating attack, charging it with the same malevolent energy as before. With a deafening roar, he hurls it right at Ilo. When the blast is about to hit, Garrosh leaps in front of her, taking the full brunt of the attack. Eren freezes in shock at the sight, unable to process what just happened. Garrosh, unfazed, begins to rip apart the shackles binding Ilo, freeing her. Eren's eyes widen as he realizes she's not dead. The truth hits him like a lightning bolt, but it's too late. Ilo is already charging at him with her fist crackling with magic, ready to end this once and for all. Meanwhile, deep in the jungle, Noah and Reuben are still searching for Ilo. The dense jungle makes the search difficult. Noah can't shake the worry that's eating at him, since it's not like her to skip class, let alone vanish without a word. As he's mulling it over, his heart skips a beat. The bushes rustle in the distance and Ilo stumbles out, clutching her injured arm, her face pale and exhausted. Behind her, Garrosh follows silently, carrying an unconscious Eren in his massive arms. Without a second thought, Noah sprints towards her, calling out her name in shock. The moment he reaches her, Ilo collapses, falling against his chest. Noah is stunned, holding Ilo as she trembles against him. However, someone in the background is not so happy to see this. Reuben feels a twinge of jealousy. Garrosh, realizing the moment is over, places Eren carefully on the ground and vanishes without a sound. Still shaking, she manages to grab something and offer it to Reuben. It's the relic Eren was using, though it's now cracked, revealing a glowing blue substance swirling within. The sight of it makes Reuben's eyes widen in shock, as he instantly recognizes the relic's true nature. Back at the Academy's infirmary, Ilo and Eren are resting in separate beds, with Noah and Reuben beside them. Reuben is absorbed in studying the relic with intense focus, while Noah sits by Ilo's side, still exhausted from watching over her all night. Ilo tries to relax, unable to shake the discomfort of being watched all night, even though she understands Noah was just looking out for her. Frustrated, she snaps at him, complaining about his constant attention, which isn't something she's used to. Gesturing toward Eren, she reminds him that maybe the injured Eren needs more attention than she does. Since it's just his nature, Noah can't help but think how cheesy her comment sounds, while Reuben, after carefully examining the relic, looks over at Ilo with a serious expression, ready to ask her a few important questions. Ilo recounts everything she witnessed in the forest, detailing Eren's strange behavior. Reuben, seeking confirmation, asks if anything unusual happened to Eren after using the relic, and Ilo confirms that Eren had been in a semi-conscious state. And, half-conscious, Hilben, processing this information, speculates that the relic might be the ancient Zokrino, a powerful artifact that disappeared years ago during the Galagon War. He explains that during the war, soldiers stationed in a desert region received a mysterious light signal. It was discovered that a relic had been unearthed on the battlefield, prompting a request for mages to protect it. Hilben continues, revealing that when the soldiers arrived at the scene, it was nothing short of a bloodbath, and the relic had vanished from its case. He was actually part of the team of mages sent to protect the artifact, and ever since then, he has been tracking its whereabouts. To his surprise, the relic reappeared after 8 years of being missing. Furthermore, it looks worn out, suggesting it has adapted to its environment and is, somehow, interacting with the surrounding atmosphere, which is quite unusual for such an artifact. While he's explaining all this, Reuben notices Noah's casual expression and asks if he doesn't care about the relic. Noah, remaining calm, admits he isn't familiar with ancient relics or wars. However, he expresses his desire to help in any way he can. Reuben is a bit taken aback by Noah's response, but quickly assures them they don't need to help. He corrects himself, ordering them not to get involved, as the situation is too dangerous. He wants them to leave the rest to the adults, since he has already contacted headquarters. A team will arrive in 2 days. Reuben suggests that Hilo get some rest, while Noah should return to his classes. Noah wants to help with the artifact, but Reuben is confident that the mages will take care of it. According to him, there's no reason for teenagers to get involved in something so serious. Upon leaving the nurse's office, Noah considers skipping class, but then he notices the principal rushing past him. This shocks him, wondering what the principal could be doing here at this hour. Meanwhile, back in the nurse's office, Reuben feels a bit embarrassed about what he said to Hilo. However, Hilo confronts him directly about lying regarding the investigation. This catches him off guard, but she can tell he's lying. After all, he is her brother. Hilo, concerned, asks if something is wrong, and Ruben reluctantly reveals that he's waiting for a response from headquarters, but Hilo sees right through him, knowing he's just making up excuses. As they are talking, there's an aggressive knock on the door that catches them by surprise. Ruben quickly rushes to put on his disguise before opening the door. To his surprise, it's the principal. Since they don't know each other, the principal asks about his presence. After a brief awkward pause, Ruben introduces himself, explaining that he found Aaron unconscious and brought him to the infirmary. The director doesn't seem relieved. He walks straight to Aaron's bed, examining him closely. Then he asks if there's anyone else with Aaron. Ruben pretends not to understand the question, avoiding a direct answer. This enrages the director, who glares daggers at Ruben and asks again. Ruben is in shock when he suddenly feels a sharp pain pierce his stomach. As the pain hits him, the director remains motionless, casting a dark spell. The pain intensifies, and Ruben collapses to the floor. With an excited look, the director grabs the relic, marveling at the fact that it's almost complete. In his hands, the relic seems to heal completely. However, after a brief look at Aaron, the director mutters that Aaron isn't enough for the relic. His gaze turns to a corner, where he asks what she thinks, knowing that Hilo is hiding there. Meanwhile, Hilo is in disbelief and terror, afraid of being caught. In the academy's cafeteria, everyone is enjoying their lunch. Mumu and Cut are already eating when Noah joins them. Mumu asks about Hilo, noticing she isn't with him. Noah is a bit surprised, as he thought she had already left the infirmary. Mentioning the infirmary makes Cut stop, worried that Hilo might have gotten hurt. Noah suddenly realizes that Hilo might not have eaten anything, so he takes his plate to bring it to her. Excited to show her what he brought, Noah enters the office, but is shocked to find it empty. He then goes to other students to ask about Hilo, but no one has seen her around. He quickly informs the supervisor, who gets mad at him. According to the supervisor, no student is allowed to leave the academy, and she yells at Noah, insisting that Hilo wouldn't leave before the final exam. Cut speculates that Hilo might be studying somewhere, but Noah is growing more and more worried, thinking that Ruben might have taken her with him. Growing more anxious, Noah suggests they look for Hilo. They head out to the jungle, although Cut and Mumu are confused about why they're there. Noah explains that he already checked the academy and she's not there, so it's possible she left without telling anyone. He also remembers Hilo, saying they should go back to the place where they saw the monster. That's why Noah brought them here. Despite his doubts, Noah can't believe that Hilo would leave the academy. While he's lost in thought, Cut and Mumu suggest she might have gone home, since it's the weekend. Upon hearing this, Noah suddenly yells, revealing something about her, but he quickly brushes them off and continues, saying it's strange that she didn't leave any trace. Throughout the entire weekend, he insists they need to find her, because friends look out for each other, trying to motivate them to help. This just makes Cut think Noah is even more worried though. Both agree to follow Noah's lead. Noah has a gut feeling that something terrible has happened to Hilo, and as they enter the restricted area, his instincts are confirmed. They are stunned. They come across a pile of bodies, along with the same zombie they encountered before. Noah instantly recognizes the zombie from the tournament days. He wonders if this is what the zombie was trying to warn them about when it was muttering. While Noah ponders this, he carefully moves around the pile, leaving Cut curious about his actions. Upon going around it, he discovers a hidden door behind the pile, which is open. As Noah approaches the door, he turns to Cut and Mumu. Determined, he can't go back empty-handed. He has to find Hilo. Cut and Mumu complete his sentence, saying that they're all friends. With that, they go through the door, descending into the unknown. As they descend, Noah can't help but reflect on Hilo's warning about not going too far. She might be right. This seems to be much more than he can handle. When they reach the bottom, they find themselves before a locked door, realizing they've reached a dead end. However, Noah reminds Mumu about the key he got from the tournament, the one that could open any door. As Noah takes out the key and prepares to open the door, Cut's worry grows. She fears someone might be inside, perhaps the same person responsible for the pile of bodies they discovered. Her concern is enough to unsettle Noah as well, remembering the bald bartender's words about losing one's sense of justice. This hits Noah hard, that if he keeps this up, he might truly regret it. Then a thought crosses his mind, and a small smile appears on his face. He realizes he would regret it, even more so if he turned back now. With this determination, he pushes the door open, only to be met with the unexpected sight of the principal's office. Everyone stands there in disbelief, but their shock deepens upon seeing Hilo unconscious and tied to a chair. They rush towards Hilo. Meanwhile, in the hallway, the principal is on his way somewhere with Siros behind him. Siros is informing the principal about the recent events at the academy, including the unexplained absences. He offers to ask the students for an explanation, but the principal dismisses the idea, insisting that he wants them to explain things personally. He lies, saying that he'll be busy and that Siros doesn't need to worry about it. Siros reluctantly agrees, as the principal gives a firm order to increase security at the academy. Meanwhile, back in the principal's office, Noah and his group struggle. They are trying to untie Hilo's ropes. Cut, seeing Noah's difficulty, suggests they take Hilo to her room. There, she might be able to use her tools to help untie her. Cut is worried they'll get caught, but Noah knows it's already too late as he hears footsteps approaching, realizing he's out of time. He quickly prepares his wind spell and aims at a nearby window, shattering it. The director, who is about to open the door, freezes for a moment, stopping when he hears the sound. Noah, frantic, yells at the others to take Hilo and escape through the window. He knows that with the window broken, the force field won't work. But, as he's explaining, the director enters the room. Noah notices and quickly tries to distract him, signaling for the others to hide again, claiming he accidentally broke the window. The director, with a cold look, replies that it's the third time he's done that. The director, unimpressed, decides to punish Noah for breaking the window, ordering him to clean the bathroom, while Noah tries to keep the director distracted. Mumu, Kuti, and Ilu huddle under his desk, hiding in an attempt to divert attention even further. Noah casually asks the director about where he was the previous day. The director, raising an eyebrow, asks why Noah is suddenly curious about that. Noah laughs nervously, claiming there's no particular reason. But then, in a bold move, he gathers his mana and launches it toward the director, yelling that he's asking because he might have killed someone. As the wind magic cuts through the air toward the director, he freezes in place. Noah, seeing that his attack has no effect, yells for everyone to run, but just as they are about to escape, he hears the director's voice. The director asks if Noah has a moment to answer a question. Noah is stunned, realizing his attack didn't even leave a scratch on him. The director, with his sharp tone, inquires if Noah has become a summoner yet. Confused, Noah tries to understand the question. The director's eyes begin to glow as he insists, asking again if Noah has mastered summoning, still unsure why the director is asking such a thing. Noah remains silent. The director, realizing Noah isn't answering, understands that he isn't a summoner after all. Without hesitation, he prepares his own dark magic attack. Realizing the director is aiming at him, Mumu arrives just in time. He throws himself, pulling Noah with him, just as the dark magic attack tears through the air. The blast hits the wall, tearing straight through it, leaving both Mumu and Noah shaken, but still on their feet. Mumu quickly regains his balance and, thinking fast, hurls a nearby sofa toward the director. With a simple flick of his finger, the director effortlessly slices it in half. His power is undeniable, but his demeanor remains unnervingly calm. As the director blocks the sofa, he realizes it was a distraction. Mumu and Noah use the moment to flee, but, despite their escape, the director doesn't pursue them. His eyes remain on the office, where Hilo is still tied up and abandoned. He turns to the unconscious girl, coldly stating that her friends left her behind as they escaped. As Mumu gets further away, he finally drops Noah and Cut, both of them panting from the intense run. Mumu is exhausted, but Cut remains silent, stunned and unable to process it all. However, to everyone's shock, Noah suddenly grabs Mumu by the collar and slams him against the wall. He's furious as he yells, demanding to know why Mumu abandoned Hilo when he had saved everyone else. Poor Mumu stutters, explaining that he left Hilo behind because Noah was in danger. However, Noah is furious, yelling at him that he told Mumu to take Hilo and run. He's angry at Mumu for prioritizing him, but a frustrated Cut yells back at Noah, pointing out that his attack didn't even work, and that's why they have no chance of getting Hilo out. Realizing that Cut is right, his anger starts to fade as emotion takes over. Cut, however, is confident that Hilo will be fine. She believes the director didn't take her life, even if it seems like he's using her for something. She also points out that the director didn't chase them, which gives her hope. Hearing this, Noah realizes he acted out of panic, and with a deep sigh, he apologizes to them for not thinking clearly. Mumu, however, is worried about what they should do next. Noah knows they can't just stand around, though he admits he's no match for the director. He also understands that doing nothing isn't an option. A slight smile appears on his face as he realizes there's something they can use. As he feels for it in his pocket, a wave of relief washes over him, happy to fall back on this. Although it's worn out, he's confident he can make it work. With that, he pulls out the crumpled summoning scroll, remembering how Hilo scolded him for messing it up before. He places the scroll in the circle and begins to study it carefully, with determination in his eyes. When the summoning circle activates, a bright flash of light erupts around Noah. He can't help but recall Hilbin's words about summoning monsters and the countless questions he asked during class. He remembers all the doubts, all the confusion, in the midst of the green mana flowing around him. Noah yells in frustration that he doesn't know the answers to all the questions running through his mind. His voice echoes, but his determination is clearer than ever. Despite his lack of knowledge about summoning, he knows one thing for sure. He never wants to lose anyone again. Driven by this determination and an immense amount of mana, Noah pours his energy into the summoning. A powerful beam of light shoots into the sky from the circle, signaling the success of the ritual. The air around him vibrates with intense power as the summoning takes form, as Noah. Upon completing the summoning, he is perplexed to see that the process was actually successful. A powerful female warrior is standing before him. She radiates strength and her presence commands the space around them. In a calm yet authoritative voice, she assures Noah that from this moment on, she will protect him. Meanwhile, back at the academy, Mumu and Cut are sneaking toward the supervisor's room, just as Noah instructed. Moving cautiously through the hallways, they manage to get inside without drawing attention. They're relieved to have gone unnoticed. Cut's eyes land on the phone they were looking for, and as she reaches out to grab it, a hand suddenly smacks her from behind. They're shocked to see it's Ruben, badly injured and in terrible condition. They both let out a scream that startles Ruben awake. He's coughing and vomiting uncontrollably, while Mumu and Cut continue to scream in a panic. Suddenly, they hear the supervisor's voice from the bathroom as she enters with more medicine for Ruben. She's also surprised to see them there. Since they were both caught, the supervisor makes them kneel as punishment. Meanwhile, looking at his watch, Ruben reveals his true identity to them, saying he is Hilo's brother and a member of the Cumulos mages, and that he is tasked with keeping the forbidden relics under control. He explains the reason for his visit, which was initially to find his sister, but has since shifted to retrieving the relic. During this process, he was attacked, and Hilo was also put in danger. The supervisor listens in silence. Then she finally reveals that she doesn't believe his story. Ruben pauses for a moment. He then realizes why she's skeptical. To his shock, she states that she will provide basic aid and will help treat his injuries while allowing him to contact his guardian. Hearing this, Ruben thanks her, feeling a sense of relief. He uses the phone and asks to speak with Lena. Meanwhile, everyone stands behind him. They are curious about his long conversation. After a while, Ruben hangs up. He reveals that reinforcements will arrive in approximately 2 hours. This news brings relief to everyone. Ruben also mentions that he needs to discuss something else with the supervisor. He wants to contact another person. Upon hearing his request, the supervisor takes him to a private area. As Mumu and Cut eagerly await the arrival of reinforcements, in the midst of their excitement, Mumu asks how they're going to inform Noah about the reinforcements. Hearing this, Cut realizes they never even discussed where to meet him. As night falls, Cyrus and his guards spot Noah wandering the streets. He yells at Noah for being out so late, and orders him to return to the dorm. Meanwhile, Noah, tired and uncertain, doesn't know if he should trust Cyrus, since he might be involved in what's going on. When Noah refuses to comply, the guards are surprised by his response. Noah, however, reveals that he has a question for Professor Cyrus. Hearing this, the professor replies that Noah can get his answer in class or after the weekend. To his shock, Noah summons his summoning scroll, shouting that this has nothing to do with class. He then raises his hand in the air, channeling mana around him. With that, he successfully summons his monster warrior, who exudes a powerful wind aura. When she appears, Noah's confidence grows, and he boldly asks if Cyrus still refuses to answer his question. Cyrus, feeling disrespected by Noah's refusal to follow orders, unsheathes his sword. With a swift motion, he strikes at Noah, but Noah quickly dodges, flashing behind him, impressed by his own speed and strength. Noah charges up his wind magic and unleashes a blast directly at Cyrus's back. The warrior's presence empowers Noah, but to his shock, Cyrus remains unharmed. He pushes his glasses back up, realizing he'll have to get tougher on Noah. In the blink of an eye, he discards his jacket and rushes toward Noah with incredible speed. In an instant, he is above Noah, ready to slice him in half, but as Cyrus strikes with his full might, Noah shifts to the side, narrowly escaping the blow. This only makes Cyrus more determined, declaring that he'll show Noah what happens to students who refuse to listen. The fight was on, and even as Cyrus fought Noah, he couldn't shake the feeling that something strange was happening at the academy. First, a professor had gone missing from class, leading the principal to order Cyrus to attend a meeting in the absent teacher's place, while also tasking him with increasing security on campus. The principal's cheerful request for Cyrus to work over the weekend had already left him unsettled, but now, One of his students was acting completely out of control. It was all too bizarre, and Cyrus couldn't help but think that being a teacher was much harder than he had anticipated. Back in the fight, Cyrus swings his sword left and right with relentless precision, but Noah is dodging every strike, as if he's in his Ultra Instinct form. Despite his dodging, Noah quickly realizes that Cyrus is much stronger than he had anticipated. His strikes are powerful, but the real terror comes when a sword strike is so fast that it becomes impossible to evade. However, the warrior Akazus uses her wind magic to push Noah aside, allowing him to dodge the unavoidable attack. She controls the wind around Noah, moving him swiftly through the air, and then gently landing him back on the ground. Noah is stunned, trying to process how he managed to evade an attack with such precision. Even Cyrus is impressed by his agility, but as Noah stands there confused, he finally realizes that his summon Akazus is responsible for his miraculous movements. Although this gives him a moment of relief, Noah also understands a crucial fact, that he is a summoner now. But simply dodging the attacks won't be enough to win this battle, and he realizes what he needs to do. Noah rolls up the scroll, leaving Cyrus intrigued about his intentions, holding the scroll between his teeth. Noah thinks to himself that he's never tried this technique before, but with Akazus's help, he feels confident he can pull it off. Gathering all his strength, he envelops himself in a powerful gust of wind. The energy surrounds him as he prepares to act. Seeing this, Cyrus becomes increasingly irritated and confused. His frustration leads him to charge at Noah with full force, as he swings his sword. Akazus raises his arm, summoning a gust of wind that makes Noah dodge the attack effortlessly. In mid-air, Noah twists and redirects himself with a surprising speed, leaving Cyrus momentarily stunned by the unexpected maneuver. With a resounding boom, Noah propels himself towards Cyrus, landing directly behind him. The sudden movement catches Cyrus by surprise, and, before he can react, Noah executes a powerful kick that sends him flying through the air. The impact leaves Cyrus stunned as he tries to understand how fast Noah has become, but Noah isn't finished yet. He continues with a relentless barrage of kicks and punches, attacking Cyrus from all angles. Even while suspended in midair, each blow lands with precision and force, leaving Cyrus in disbelief at Noah's incredible speed and power. When Noah returns to the ground, he feels a wave of relief, thinking that the technique worked. However, his moment of relief is short-lived, as he suddenly hears someone call his name from behind. As he turns around, he sees Mumu and Kut, who have managed to eliminate the remaining guards. Seeing them, Noah feels a wave of relief, but the atmosphere changes as the scene cuts to Cyrus, sitting alone in a room. With his shoulders slumped in disappointment, he can't shake the shame of having lost to one of his own students. Reuben, noticing Cyrus's dejected state, expresses concern and asks the supervisor if he was in a similar condition when he arrived. The supervisor confirms that he was worse. Meanwhile, Noah and his group are also there, and Noah begins to explain his actions. Awkwardly, he admits that he didn't intend for things to escalate the way they did. In an excited tone, he reveals that he has just returned from his summoning and suspects that Cyrus might be involved with the headmaster's mysterious plans. However, after the confrontation, Noah realizes that even Cyrus, someone known as the headmaster's right-hand man, is unaware of what the headmaster is really up to. According to him, the headmaster is working alone, which might make it easier to confront him. Hearing this, Mumu and Kuti fall silent. They then reveal to Noah that reinforcements are on the way. According to them, help will arrive in 8 hours, so he doesn't need to worry. However, the mention of such a long wait makes Noah apprehensive. Meanwhile, in the director's office, he's using his magic to create a force field, sealing off the entire area of destruction. Caused by his explosion, Ilo is tied to a chair beside him, helpless, as he tries to intimidate her, bringing the relic dangerously close. Back in the supervisor's room, Noah realizes that 8 hours will be too late. Determined to act, he decides to rescue Ilo on his own. Just as Noah is about to leave, Rubem calls out, revealing that it's his fault, that things have come to this, and he can't put anyone else in danger. Noah reassures him, saying that he's stronger now, and while he might not be as powerful as the director, he's confident in his ability to rescue Ilo. He's determined, certain there has to be a way. Noah knows they're in just as much danger if they don't act. However, Rubem grabs Noah, yelling that the director has killed countless people and, no matter how strong Noah has become, he will kill him without hesitation. Noah grabs Rubem by the collar, arguing that instead of trying to stop him, Rubem should join him, since he's Ilo's brother. He asks if Rubem isn't worried about Ilo, and if he plans to just wait for 8 hours without doing anything. Hearing this, Rubem feels a pang of shame. However, Noah, furious, shoves him away, saying that if Rubem has nothing else to say, he will go alone. As he's about to leave, Rubem stops him, stating that he has a plan. The city is eerily quiet as a gust of wind cuts through the force field the director created. When the director looks out at the street, he spots Noah, who calls out to him, with dark energy radiating around him. The director steps toward the field, taunting Noah, and asking if he has come to meet his end. Noah, however, is confident in himself. He acknowledges that the director might be right, but assures him that he has a plan, thanks to Rubum's revelation. Noah now has a hostage exchange strategy. According to Rubum, the director was sacrificing young students with magical abilities to achieve his goals. If they offer Noah as bait in exchange for Elo, it could work. Rubum, however, warns Noah that there's a risk the director won't fall for it, but it's their best shot. The supervisor, on the other hand, is skeptical, worried about the force field. Rubum explains that for this to work, they'll need to lure the director out of his office. He adds that if the director steps out of the force field, they can actually do something about him. In the present, Cut and Mumu are busy setting up traps outside the director's office building, while Rubum watches the whole show from the supervisor's room through his magic orb. Meanwhile, Noah, sticking to the plan, offers himself up as bait instead of Ilo, claiming he's way stronger. He yells for the director to get out of his office and face him. The director finds this demand pretty intriguing, but he's curious why he should even bother. Even though he's nervous, Noah pushes past his discomfort and, in a total fit of rage, decides to take matters into his own hands and charges at the force field, gathering all his strength and kicking it with everything he's got. However, to his utter shock, the force field doesn't even crack. Instead, the attack totally backfires, sending Noah flying backward. Jesus then hoists Noah into the air, while the director just mocks him, taunting that the shield is way too solid for him to break and that he only managed to break his own windows. Fueled by pure rage, Noah channels all his internal mana again and slams into the force field with all his might. But still, this attack also fails to do any damage, leaving Mumu and Cut super worried, as Noah just keeps launching a barrage of attacks against the shield. The director is on the other side, just smirking and calling it a complete waste of time. Rubum is also watching, worried, through the magic orb, knowing full well that Noah is just wasting his energy on a shield that isn't budging. Their whole goal is to lure the director out, but Noah seems dead set on fighting him instead, just wailing on the shield. Noah suddenly remembers Ilo's lesson about burning through all your mana and becoming useless in a fight, realizing how right he was. He stops, but at this point, he's totally gassed from his relentless attacks on the shield. Everyone watches curiously, wondering what his next move is going to be. Remembering Ilo's advice, Noah starts gathering mana from his surroundings. His mana absorption is insanely powerful, and both the supervisor and Rubum watch in total disbelief. Meanwhile, Noah pulls a massive amount of energy from the atmosphere and channels it into a single, epic kick, aimed right at the shield. Well folks, that's the end of the video. If you liked it, comment for the next part, subscribe to the channel, and smash that like button. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next